What are you counting, Azmina?
Oh, I'm counting the days until Fully Residential Schools International Symposium hosted by Sekolah Seri Puteri.
Well, when is it?
I think it's held on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of October.
Isn't today the 3rd?
Wait, you're right. That's why today is special. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning I bid to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants to the 9th Online Fully Residential Schools International Symposium 2021.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Fully Residential School International Symposium, or also known as FRSIS, was initiated in 2011 and was organized by the Ministry of Education Malaysia under the Fully Residential Schools Management Division in partnership with the National Commission for UNESCO Malaysia. Through a systematic research and creation of video presentations on cutting-edge issues, we hope to instill the culture of critical thinking, decision-making, as well as creativity amongst the youth. In line with the event's objectives, our aim is to nurture towering personalities as well as leadership qualities for our leaders of tomorrow. You are all cordially invited to watch the presentations on the sub-theme Healthcare Innovations and Mental Health Anxiety Management During the Pandemic, and later have a chance to pose any questions to the presenters.
To add on, we would like to inform you that there will be an online quiz posted in the chat box at the end of the session. For your information, if you manage to answer 80% of the questions correctly, you'll be rewarded an International Achievement e-certificate. Do be on the lookout for the quiz later.
Before we continue with the presentations, I would like to introduce you to our esteemed judges. We have with us Dr. Nur Anita C. Omar, the consultant ophthalmologist from Hospital Sultanah Nur Zahira as the chief judge. Then, the second judge is Mr. Muhammad Farhan bin Adnan from Sekolah Menengah Sains Hulu Terengganu. And the third judge who is watching on the YouTube is Ms. Nur Azlina Mat Saad from the Malay College, Kuala Kangsar. Thank you for gracing us with your presence today.
You're welcome.
And you might be wondering who we are. Me, Nur Azmina Zamia Muhammad Nur Al-Azad, and my partner, Mahfuza Anina Muzarmin, are the moderators in today's session, and we are from Sekolah Seri Puteri. Now, allow me to read the rules briefly. First of all, the presentation must focus on the sub-theme assigned to each theme. In this track, the sub-theme is Healthcare Innovations and Mental Health Anxiety Management during the pandemic. Next, the duration of the video must not exceed 10 minutes. And lastly, a question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. In today's itinerary, we have 17 themes overall to present. However, in this session, we are going to look at the presentations from the first 5 themes.
Before we start, do you want to know a fun fact about FRSIS, Azmina?
Well, sure. But Mahfuza, I think our participants are here already.
Okay, sure. Let's invite them. To start the ball rolling, I would like to invite the first team from College Tunku Kursia to present their research presentations with their title, Anxiety Throughout the Pandemic. We are so privileged to have Farah Lydia Muhammad Zahid and her partner, Amira Suraya Asnizan, as the presenters. Please welcome.
So, are you guys nervous? Are you ready to answer the questions later?
Yes, we have prepared. We have tried our best to prepare for the upcoming questions, and we hope that we can answer the questions adequately.
I'm sure you guys will do just fine later on.
Thank you so much.
After this, we are going to look at your presentation, and I'm sure it will be such a brilliant presentation. So, any insights for your presentation before we begin?
Our presentation, based on the sub-theme, obviously, is about mental healthcare innovations and mental health anxiety during the pandemic. And we spent like more than 2 months researching this topic. And I believe that we've done our best in preparing our video from all the whole research process, from researching to editing and compiling and everything. So I hope today our presentation will be quite insightful to the viewers online right now. That's all.
Well then, Mahfuza, before we watch their video, do you want to know a fun fact about FRSIS?
Yes, enlighten me.
Well, for your information, this year's FRSIS has received participations from countries such as India, Thailand, Turkey, Vietnam, the Philippines, and Indonesia. This year, a total of 105 international participants have come together in this auspicious event.
I also heard that the total number of participants of FRSIS is around 470 students, comprising all the 70 fully residential schools nationwide. To name a few, there are participants from Sekolah Tunku Abdul Rahman, Sekolah Menengah Sains Miri, the Malay College Kuala Kangsar, and the Royal Military College.
Wow, okay, now let's watch their video presentation together.
Untuk kritik kesihatan pun juga tekanan.
COVID-19 was discovered in Wuhan, China,
Pada Sulawesi
now affecting not only Malaysia,
69 Melaka 639 Sarawak
as the number of
261.
cases are rising. Many have lost their lives due to the virus.
seluruh migran yang dibuat melalui pintu
Selangor dengan 6,058 kes hilang
We are
putih.
currently in the process of distributing the vaccine to everyone in order to lessen the number of cases.
In the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, every layer of society has been affected differently. Healthcare concerns, both physical and mental, have been increasing among society worldwide and are proving to be an obstacle to the community's well-being. In uncertain times, healthcare innovations have undoubtedly played a vital role in aiding the continuity of life. Assalamualaikum and greetings I be to everyone. We are the representatives from Tunku Kusha College, and this is our video presentation with the topic Healthcare Innovations and Mental Health Anxiety Management During the Pandemic. One of the key highlights in this presentation is how to recognize and manage mental health anxiety. Before getting into the whole topic, let me give you a view about what is actually meant by mental health anxiety. Anxiety is a feeling of unease, such as worry or fear, that can be either mild or severe. We all feel anxious at certain times, but anxiety could lead to mental health disorders if it doesn't go away and gets worse over time. Anxiety disorders can affect us mentally and make it difficult to get through the day. It is also one of the most prevalent mental health disorders. However, there are several effective treatments to limit or prevent the further effects of anxiety. During this pandemic, I believe everyone has their own uncertainties to cope with, but most of the time, it is quite tough for the majority of our society. Let's take a look at the statistics on how much the COVID-19 affected our mental health. According to the Malaysian Psychiatric Association, did you know that by the year 2020, mental illness is expected to be the second biggest problem affecting Malaysians after heart disease? Based on this chart, it is shown that Malaysia ranks 17th in the world with a percentage of 45% of the society that strongly agrees that COVID-19 has left them struggling with mental health issues.
We all feel anxious sometimes. But what is the difference between normal anxiety and an anxiety disorder? Firstly, normal anxiety usually occurs in response to a stressor, for example, an upcoming exam, interview, or a presentation. People with anxiety disorders feel anxious all the time. Secondly, the intensity and length of anxiety is ongoing compared to normal anxiety, which is fleeting. And lastly, anxiety disorders directly affects and impairs your daily life. Three commonly known types of anxiety disorders are generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, panic disorders, and phobias. People with GAD worry excessively about ordinary things, and they have them almost every day. People with panic disorders experience panic attacks, which can come quickly and can last for a few or maybe more minutes. People with phobias experience an intense fear of something that poses little or no threat to them at all. For example, a fear of spiders or a fear of closed spaces. Some mental symptoms of anxiety includes racing thoughts, uncontrollable overthinking, difficulties concentrating, feelings of dread, panic, or impending doom, feeling irritable, heightened alertness, problems with sleep, and changes in appetite.
To assess the public's thoughts and opinions on their mental health condition, we have conducted a survey that accumulates 384 anonymous responses from people of all ages. Moving forward to this question, we managed to identify that 39.8% of people have someone close to them who have been medically diagnosed with mental health anxiety issues, while the other 60.2% don't. From this chart, it is shown that a large majority of people experience overthinking that sums up to 81.8%, while the least experienced symptom is hyperventilation with only 21.7%. These were some responses that we obtained from the public regarding their struggles during this pandemic. In our combined efforts to stay safe and save lives, our usual ways of seeing family, friends, or just familiar faces have been put on pause. Mental health issues is higher in people who are unemployed, full-time students, and single parents. In each wave of the survey has tracked the mental health of the nation since March 2020. Forging ahead, we know that every problem has its own solution, just like how every lock is made with a key. Healthcare innovation is to develop new or improved health policies, systems, products, and technologies that deliver methods to improve people's health with a special focus on the needs of vulnerable populations. Innovations or technologies are paving the way for a new era for healthcare that is changing the way we make medical decisions and how we receive treatment. One thing that we have to keep in mind is that we spend a lot of money globally on healthcare. We spend getting on for around $7.5 trillion a year, including delivering healthcare services around the world, and comprising $2 trillion spent on inputs of healthcare, the drugs, the medical devices, the IT, and so on. With these medical innovations, past and future, comes an often overlooked benefit. Medications, therapies, and medical technologies not only save lives but also save our money. We often heard that medical innovation is a cost driver and not a cost saver. But little do you know that eradicating a disease, people will no longer spend their money on treatment. The costs that would have been incurred in addressing patients' ongoing medical issues can be avoided entirely. According to the National Bureau of Economic Research, for every dollar spent on innovative medicines, the total healthcare spending is reduced by $7.20. In the 2001 Foundation for Research on Equal Opportunity, World Index of Healthcare Innovation, analyzed by Greg Griffin and Avik Roy, 6 countries earn an excellent overall rating, which are Switzerland, the Netherlands, Germany, Ireland, and the United States.
One of the healthcare innovations that are made during this pandemic are drones for medical supplies deliveries. North Carolina's Novant Health partnered with Zipline, a company that specializes in delivering medical supplies to remote areas, to create a drone to deliver COVID supplies. They delivered them via parachute for a truly no-contact experience. Another healthcare innovation that has been made that can help you during this pandemic is an application that allows you to connect and communicate with therapists online. Talks is an incredible app that can help you, especially if you're struggling with mental health during this pandemic. You can also choose to instead text or call your therapist if you feel uncomfortable doing it face-to-face through a screen.
Moving on to the next part of the presentation, we'll be touching on ways to handle this issue. The most important advice is to exercise self-care. And what self-care here means is taking the time to carry out activities that will improve your physical and mental health. Simple acts like sleeping well, exercising regularly, and eating correctly may seem small, but these acts give a significant positive impact on our mental health. Moreover, we also need to connect with our feelings and acknowledge our emotional responses to situations. Through this, we can understand ourselves better and manage to find ways that would help cope with these troubling times. Communicating with our body and handling its emotional responses helps us avoid conflict, stress, and overall allows us to maintain healthy emotionally. Now, let's take a look about what the government has done to help those in need. Talian Kasih is a 24-hour hotline initiated by the Minister of the Women, Family and Community Development Ministry, Datuk Seri Rina Harun. Due to restrictions of the MCO, many have resorted to this option and found solace after letting loose to one of the 528 counsellors there. Those undergoing emotional distress find talking to someone anonymously over the phone as a miracle way to seek emotional support. And that is what Talian Kasih has been providing all this time. Ladies and gentlemen, to summarize our presentation, we were able to explain what mental health anxiety and healthcare innovation is, the differences between anxiety itself and anxiety disorders, the contribution of healthcare innovations during the pandemic, and what we can do to alleviate our issues, as well as what the government has done to help those affected. This pandemic has definitely served its purpose as an eye-opener on how drastically one's life can change due to their surroundings. So a simple phone call to your family or friend battling with mental health anxiety may just ameliorate their silent burden. With how far healthcare innovations have stretched as the world evolves, as a knowledgeable society, it is our job to recognize the importance of these healthcare innovations so that maybe we could help those in need. And it is all we have to say in the span of 10 minutes. Thank you all for listening to the end.
What an excellent presentation by this team. Welcome back, judges, and now let's proceed with the question and answer session. Audiences, if you have any questions for the presenters, please put them in the chat box below.
First of all, from user Amina, the question reads as, how teachers can use assessment processes in schools to identify students who may need extra support, especially regarding anxiety, which can often go undetected. Can our presenters kindly address this question?
Any insights from our presenters regarding this question?
Sorry. Allow me to answer. The existing processes in schools, for example, the one managed by the school councillors is the yearly quiz. Well, to put it mildly, quiz, the anxiety detect test that we are required to take yearly. The purpose of this test is actually to to immediately identify any symptoms or signs of any mental health conditions in the students, since as we know it is hard to anxiety and some other mental health disorders are quite hard to detect um, early on in regard instead of physical sickness. So this test will allow the school counselors to be able to detect the students which are undergoing any anxiety or mental health issues and allow them to interfere before it deteriorates and also help the students.
I do agree with the response. Thank you. Any more inquiries from the audience? Next, user Zahira Muzamir would like to know about the percentage of suicidal thoughts among young adults has been increasing due to the pandemic. However, most of them do not receive treatment. How can we help them? Why? What do you have to say about that, presenters?
Alright, I would like to address this question. So first of all, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Thank you to Zahira Muzamir for the amazing question. So when you mention among young adults, I would like to center this towards students. In school, these are the roles of, this is where the role of counselors take big place in their lives. So counselors should, as Amira has mentioned just now, yearly we have a quiz that we need to take so that counselors can identify whether these students need special treatment or not. So when these quizzes are taken place, whether the student requires special attention or not is identified. So and as this topic is, we can already clearly see, is definitely gaining more attention every single day. The negative perceivement towards mental illness is also slowly fading away. So when relating back to the quiz, sorry, not quiz, relating back to the survey on when detecting if the person is okay or not, the people who used to feel getting treatment and being publicly known for having a mental illness is something bad, something that is to be frowned upon. But it is not anymore, as people are slowly becoming more aware of what this is. So counselors can also suggest them to find measures that would help illnesses. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for the excellent response.
Then
So, Azmina?
since we still have time, does our judges like to give any comments for our presenters?
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning to everyone. Congratulations to the KC team for an outstanding presentation. I'm sure you have spent a lot of time doing the research and preparing for the video. So in the video presentation, you presented the results of your survey, but there were no details about the research. Can you please elaborate more on the research methodology and how data collection was being done?
Alright, so since Amira is gone, okay. So how we collected our methodology is from collecting responses to Google Forms. So these anonymous responses that we receive, just for further information.
I'm sorry, Amira. I'm very sorry, but the time is up. I'm sorry.
All right, that's good.
Then this concludes the question and answer session. Thank you again to College Tuku Kursha, and also thank you to the judges.
All right, okay. Thank you very much for having us and for the questions.
Thank you very much, judges.
To proceed further, let's welcome on board the next team from Sekolah Menengah Sains Miri with the presenters Nur Nabiha Najwa binti Muhammad and Kimberly Anak Wilson Maja to move on with their presentation with the title Mental Health at Stake Can Be Your Savior.
Hello everyone, greetings from Sekolah Menengah Sains Miri, or as known as Sains 3. We are representing our school in this year's Fully Residential School International Symposium competition. So let's get to know what is our title for this year. So our title is Mental Health at Stake During Pandemic. Fret not, telehealth can be your savior. Let's get to know our member first. So our teacher advisor is Ms. Zulina, and my team members are Dino, Kimberly, Nur Nabiga, and Muhammad Hamirul. As you can see, the statistics of mental health worldwide rise up drastically. especially in Mexico with over 50%. In Japan, there's only like 12%, which can be an example for every countries in the world.
So, we are here today to convey our findings on how we can cope with mental health, which is through telehealth. Telehealth is the use of digital information and communication technologies, such as computers and mobile devices, to access healthcare services remotely and manage your healthcare. These may be technologies you use from home or that your doctors uses to improve or support healthcare services. The example of ways telehealth could help you. The first example is use a mobile phone or other device to upload information about your health condition for the healthcare providers. Secondly, using online patient portal to see your test result. Next one, setting appointments with your doctors. Fourth, ordering medical supplies online. And last but not least, get reminders when you need other preventive care. The next slide, the goals of telehealth, also called e-health or m-health, mobile health, include the following. Make health care accessible to people who live in rural or isolated communities. Second, make services more readily available or convenient for people with limited mobility, time, or transportation options. Third, provide access to medical specialists. Fourth, improve communication and coordination of care among members of a healthcare team and a patient. And last but not least, provide support for self-management of healthcare. The next slide is the example of telehealth. The first one, patient portal. These portals offer an alternative to email, which is a generally insecure means to communicate about private medical information. The next example of telehealth is virtual appointments. Some clinics may provide virtual appointments that enable you to see your doctor or a nurse via online video conferencing. Third, remote monitoring. A variety of technologies enable your doctor or healthcare team to monitor your health remotely. And last but not least, personal health records. An electronic personal health record system, often called as PHR system, is a collection of information about your health that you control and maintain.
I'd like to continue this presentation with detailed explanation on how could telehealth help with mental health issues during COVID-19. First and foremost, telehealth can help to improve access to mental health specialty care that might not otherwise be available. This helps to give hopes to the mental health patients that they can still seek help in times of this outbreak. Next, telehealth also helps to bring care straight to the patient's location. Now, mental health patients don't have to be anxious anymore as they can have virtualized consultations. In addition to that, telehealth also help in creating a trusted and safe situation for mental health patients because telehealth practices physical distancing. Lastly, telehealth could help to connect with a compassionate mental health care provider through a secure video chat. This will help the patients to be less overwhelmed to share their personal problems. Next, let us take a look at roles of telehealth during COVID-19 outbreak. The first role of telehealth is to protect both healthcare providers and patients while consultations. Next, telehealth plays a role in minimizing risk of COVID-19 transmission. And third, telehealth helps to prevent direct physical contact. These 3 points are connected because telehealth provides care without relying on any in-person consultations. Telehealth also plays a role in providing continuous care to community. Now, with telehealth, mental health patients will have equal healthcare provision, same as COVID-19 patients. Lastly, for me, telehealth plays a role in reducing morbidity and mortality rate. This is because telehealth can help in performing an initial triage for patients with COVID-19 symptoms. This helps in identifying the symptoms earlier and helps in treating it sooner. That is all for me. I would like to pass this presentation to the next presenter.
Alright, so we have conducted a survey using the Google form. We sent the Google form to 100 respondents who were our schoolmates, undergraduates, and working adults. These were the responses that we've gotten. This is the pie chart in which they answered yes or no whether the pandemic affected their mental health. And it clearly shows that 85.1% of people agreed that it does affect their mental health. Next is the effects of pandemic outbreak. The top pick answer was constantly worrying about the mental health and the well-being of yourself and your loved ones. There's also people who procrastinate during studies and has lost their social interaction skills. They started to develop social anxiety and find it hard to communicate with other people. Furthermore, people also became less interested and unmotivated to do things they usually do. The chart is regarding to the question whether telehealth could help more people to reach out for help in times of this pandemic situation. It's clearly showing that 99% of people who answered the survey agreed that telehealth would help. This is because some of them believe that telehealth has its own purpose to help us during this pandemic. Others say it's because it is hard to meet doctors during this pandemic as we can't go out often. Telehealth doesn't require people to spend as much money as they thought it would be, since it's cheap and it is also more convenient for long distance services. That's all from us. Thank you for lending your ears.
I am astounded by the great research presentations. Welcome back, judges. Now we will commence with the question and answer session. The chat box is open to any sort of inquiries from our audience.
Before we proceed on with the audience, does Mr. Farhan would like to give any comments or any questions for our presenter, Nabiha?
Okay, good job, guys, one of you and your team for a very good and thorough research, I believe. And you guys actually managed to take your time in presenting the ideas, and that's a very good thing. When you are presenting research of a big scale, I would say. Okay, this is not how you normally would do in your school, in your class. It is important for you to actually give time for people and others around you who are listening to your presentation to actually understand what you're talking about. So in that regards, I am very thankful that you guys take your time to enunciate your words and to be very prim and proper in whatever you guys are trying to present. And I hope that that is going to be something that you would do in the future. Okay. Now, am I allowed to ask questions now, or are you waiting for the comments to?
Mr. Farhan can ask the question and then we can proceed with the audience.
Okay, so my first question, since this is probably going to be one of those very few times you are doing research, and especially during this time of uncertainty during this pandemic, I would like to ask you, why do you think mental health issue, okay, during the pandemic is important for you as a student, of course?
Personally, I think mental health is important because it will affect our daily lives. So if our mental health is not in the best state, uh, we are not going to do things. We are not going to give the things that we are going to do 100%. So I think it's not good.
Okay, thank you very much. Chief Judge, do you have anything else to ask or to comment for that matter?
Okay. I think in your presentation you mentioned that telehealth was mentioned as one of the solutions in healthcare, particularly in mental health. So, what do you think can be the challenges in providing telehealth in our society?
I think the challenges that we may got is that some people that live in rural areas, they can't get the good connection to use the telehealth, and some people don't trust this kind of things. That's
Thank you
all.
for the answer. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer. Mafuza, do we still have more time?
Yes.
Then I think we can proceed with the questions from the audience.
So we have the first question from user Hannah Muazzam. The question is, some people, especially teenagers, have trouble talking about their problems and opening up to other people, resulting in their mental health now improving. How can you overcome this? Any thoughts from the presenters?
Well, I think we can approach them slowly as a friend, and then we need to make them feel comfortable with us, and then maybe they can open up slowly with us, and then they can share their problems so that their mental health can be more good. Yeah.
Thank you for the great feedback. Any more inquiries from the audience? Next, user Amina would like to know about, can you deepen the explanation regarding the link between COVID-19 and mental health?
I think the link between COVID-19 and mental health is because since COVID-19 outbreak happens, we cannot go out freely and oftenly because we don't want to get the COVID-19, right? So because of that, since we just staying in our home, we are not we we are not what do you call that, we don't speak with other people, I mean like face to face, so then your mental health can be more worse than it is really are, because you, as you know, we already have mental health before COVID-19, but during COVID-19 the mental health cases are more we have more many mental health cases.
Thank you for the great feedback. 5 minutes have gone by. Thank you to the judges and the presenter from Sekolah Menengah Sains Miri.
Mafuza, I think our next team is already here.
Alright. Continuing with the event, let us have Sekolah Menengah Sains Teluk Intan to present their findings with the title Healthcare Innovations and Mental Health Anxiety Management During the Pandemic. Let us welcome Nurin Farihah Kistina binti Fazal and Divyesh anak lelaki Mohana Sundaram. You may start.
Of the many innovations utilized in the healthcare field, the use of unmanned air vehicle or UAV is in the list. One of the many types of UAV is specialized drones with the capability of fitted scanning device, which is an infrared scanner and also disinfection system. With the drones hovering in potential hotspots, thermal imaging data from the scanner can be sent to a server where healthcare workers can identify whether they are potential virus carriers, judging from the symptoms that they may have. A simple example would be detecting if someone exhibits higher temperature than a normal fever, which is an indicator of someone being infected with the virus. As for the sanitizing system, these drones are used as an asset, which reduces the risk for a human being getting infected if there is a need for sanitization for any place. The virus, as the majority of us know, can transmit via touch, so the use of drones are appropriate because operators are far away from the source of the virus.
Other than that, one of the most effective healthcare innovations that has been used during this pandemic is MySejahtera application. It is an application developed by the government of Malaysia to assist in managing the COVID-19 outbreaks in our country, Malaysia. It allows users to perform health self-assessment on themselves and their families. They can also monitor their health status throughout the COVID-19 outbreak. In addition, MySejahtera enables Ministry of Health (MOH) to monitor users' health condition and take immediate action in providing the treatments required. In MySejahtera application, there are many functions such as knowing your own COVID-19 status, COVID-19 vaccination, COVID-19 self-test, digital health, hotspot, help desk, manage dependents, health facilities, and more. If users click on COVID-19 status, there will be a few questions regarding your health status such as any symptoms and whether you attended any areas associated with known COVID-19 cluster. Then, if users click on COVID-19 vaccination, there will be COVID-19 vaccine information, latest updates on Malaysia's vaccination program, and managed vaccine dependent. If users want to register for vaccination, they can easily click on Add Vaccine Dependent. With that, they can register for vaccination and fill in the details about themselves. This will make MOH and MySejahtera's work easier to open a slot for their vaccination. With this form of utilities, it is an absolute convenience for all the parties involved. Next, if users did a swab test, they could click on COVID-19 self-test to find information on their self-test kits, to update self-test result, and to purchase online their self-test kit. This is for people who feel suspicious about their swab test result. They can buy and test it for themselves. After that, if users click digital health, they will find virtual health advisory, clinic appointment booking, and Minda Sihat. These are related to their health both mentally and physically. Then, if users click on hotspot, they can track COVID-19 hotspot around them within a 1 kilometer radius from users' current location. This is an especially essential function of the application as it helps local people of a certain area to avoid getting in a hotspot, thus reducing the risk of getting infected, resulting in lessening the burden of our healthcare workers. Another function of this comprehensive application is the check-in and check-out function. Users do not have to use pens to record their admission to a certain place because they can scan QR code to be used as records. The next new feature that has been recently added is the checkout function. This can help healthcare workers to scale down their search for potential infections as they can sort out the data they have according to time when users check in and check out. As a result, their work is more efficient as resources can be used in treating patients rather than sorting through the numerous data they have.
Moving on, I would like to talk about students' mental health during this pandemic. But first, what is mental health? Mental health includes emotional, psychological, social well-being. Mental health affects us on how we handle certain things, such as stress, talking to people, and managing emotional. It affects how we think, talk, speak to people, and communicate to each other. Mental health also is very, very important from all the ages, from childhood to also adulthood. Mental health also helps us to make good choices and not the bad ones. For example, if we go through stress, mental health affects us on how to make a good decision. We as students held a mini survey for the people in our school, and we were surprised to get about 90 responses. During lockdown, which is about 5 to 6 months, we got a few responses. The age group are 16 and 17 years old, teenage boys and girls. 51.1% is male and 48.9% is female. On a survey we held, we got few responses, such as 1 or 1.1% said that they were in poor mental health, or 6.8% said that they were in good mental health. 33 students, or 37.5%, mentioned that they are in very good mental health. 40 students, or 45.5 students, said that they are in a perfect mental health. And 8, or 8.8%, said that they are in an excellent mental health. This shows that the students in our school had a very good mental health during this COVID-19 pandemic outbreak. Now, let's talk about what students did during this COVID-19 pandemic to maintain a perfect, excellent mental health. 14 students spent time in their family. 19 students watched drama, Netflix, or even listening to music. 10 does physical activity, whereas 12 does online gaming. 5 students said that they studied. 18 students said they hang out with friends via Skype. Overall, this shows that students manage their time wisely to maintain a perfect and a very excellent mental health.
From the data, we can see that most of the students choose to do their hobbies. Activities that can make students happy and relaxed can enhance their mental health and well-being. Research shows that people with hobbies are less to undergo stress. The hobbies can include watching drama, gaming, and some of them more prefer to study. Next is the inclusion of various physical activities that are regularly done. Among the recent response was performing aerobic movement because they can easily be done indoors. The longer time is taken to do physical activity, the bigger the impact to produce a positive mood. My research found that exercise for 30 minutes 3 times a week will help to produce a positive mood, and this method is very helpful for students to manage their depression and stress levels. Thirdly, hanging out with friends using social media and staying connected with peers. More students are likely to enjoy their time with friends as the pandemic stops students from gathering physically. This was seen in academic journals. As a result, those who are enjoying their friendship shows that they have a lower rate of stress and depression. Students who responded also suggested that connecting with their peers is more preferred as they share the same age bracket and interests. Moreover, the data also shows spend time with family is one of the positive activities that students can do. For instance, have a thought session about daily routine or playing games together. One reason behind this, family are the closest member that students have. They give us the motivation to be the best version of ourselves. Taking everything into consideration, we have explained healthcare innovation and mental health management among students during the pandemic. It's clear that healthcare innovation during the pandemic has helped a lot towards the nation and made a strong impact amongst people and also the government. Proper mental health management among students can improve qualities of life and hence lead to a better lifestyle to produce a great future generation. We also believe that this generation can learn to become stronger as this critical yet very hysterical event happens during this time. With a robust mental health fortitude, adolescents such as ourselves can imprint in our mind that tragedies can open up multiple opportunities which can help mankind to thrive, even in the worst of conditions. A great future can be had with great mental health. To end our video today, we would like to thank you for your full attention to our video. I hope our presentation has given a big input about this pandemic and can benefit us, know this or another. Thank you and stay safe.
Such an eye-opening video presentation from this school, and I do agree a good future relies on a good mental health. Now, presenters, are you ready to answer the questions that the audience or the judges may pose to you?
Yeah.
So, audience, have you any questions? Please put them in the chat box below.
First of all, user Amina has an inquiry about if COVID-19 was only a teaser, What should be implemented by the government to improve our healthcare system in controlling the outbreak? Any thoughts from the presenters?
Okay. Um, for starters, the governments can invest in more healthcare innovation because as we know, there are many healthcare innovations right now, but they don't have the finance in establishing that. So for starters, the government can invest more in the healthcare innovation, and secondly, the healthcare of elderly and young children should be reinforced because, as we know, the risk of getting COVID-19 among youngsters and elders are higher than most adults. So um, we should definitely focus more on younger children or um, oldest citizen. Okay, I hope that answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback. Any more inquiries from the audience? So from user Zahra, the question is how can we help to improve the mental health issues suffered by our healthcare workers?
Okay, I will go for the question. First of all, thank you, Ms. Zahara, for posting this question. It's a very interesting question. Okay. Okay, we can improve the mental health of healthcare workers by giving them good salary, for instance, taking good care of them. Okay, we can also suggest them to refer a psychiatrist in case their mental health is in a worse case. I hope this answers the question.
Thank you for answering the question.
Then I would like to invite our judges to pose any questions or give any thoughts regarding their video presentation.
Okay, thank you, Semesti, for a good presentation. Can you elaborate on how watching drama or movies or gaming can help reduce anxiety among young adults?
Okay, I will answer that. Watching drama or playing video games can actually reduce our stress because since we are studying online from morning till evening, we tend to get more stress because we have to look at the screen and watch for hours and hours. So watching TV or playing games may reduce our stress and make us focus more on our studies so that we can get good grades in our exams. Thank you.
But you also add more screening time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Besides online learning, you also add more screening time with watching TVs or videos or playing video games, isn't it?
Yeah. And we also learn to face challenges when we play video games because video games teach us to push us to go more further and further. And every time we fail, we actually have that motivation to go more further and further. So using that, we can actually gain more knowledge and learn from video games so that we can implement that on studies and we can go more further and further.
Thank you.
I do agree with that opinion. Well, then, does Mr. Farhan would like to pose any questions for our presenters?
Okay, thank you very much, Samasti, for a very good presentation again. Just a point for your future reference. Whenever you are editing videos, make sure that it is done so that everything looks as if it is from the same presenter because that's going to be some part of your presentation that we actually looked at. Okay, so make sure in the future, if we were to do this again, everything that is related to the presenter looks similar, not out of place. Okay. Now, aside from that, my question to you is: what are the roles of peers or friends in managing and making sure that students and teenagers such as you are stress-free?
Thank you for the question. I think I can answer that. Did you ask the role of friends?
Yes.
Okay. As friends, we tend to be closer to other people, as we call it, friends. So, as friends, you should definitely reach out to them and ask them news on how they're doing, how are they coping with this pandemic. So we should ask them and have a little talk, heart to heart to them. Yeah. I think that answer some of your question. Thank you.
With your answer, that concludes this question and answer session because 5 minutes is up. Thank you again to Sekolah Menengah Sains Tele Intan for your answers, and thank you again to the judges. Carrying on with the symposium, let's give a warm welcome to Team Sekolah Menengah Sains Alam Shah with the presenters Amirul Afiq bin Azizi and Muhammad Nabil bin Muhammad Fauzi. And let's continue watching their presentation with the title, The Curbing Efforts and Impacts of the COVID-19 Pandemic on Mental Health. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum and a very pleasant day I bid to panel of judges, teachers, fellow presenters and dearest audience. We are from Alam Shah Science School, Kuala Lumpur, and we shall be talking about healthcare innovations and mental health anxiety management during COVID-19. Now, before we dive into the roots of our talk today, allow us to introduce ourselves. My name is Amirul Afiq bin Azizi, and I shall act as the reporter for my team presentation.
My name is Muhammad Aidil Hakimi Bejalani, and I'm to touch on points elaborating technologies and measures taken to deal with the pandemic.
My name is Muhammad Nabil bin Muhammad Fauzi, and I shall be explaining the impact and the situation of our beloved country, Malaysia, is in while living during this pandemic.
And my name is Ahmad Idham Adili bin Muhammad Zaid, and I will address the current situations regarding the impacts of pandemic from an international standpoint.
With that settled, allow me to shine some light on the topic that we'll be talking about today. We have been living with COVID-19 for more than a year now. Its dangers, measures, and risks are common knowledge. But how many of us know the efforts and initiatives that have been taken to deal with this pandemic? In 2019, a virus raised its ugly head in Wuhan, China. Soon, it reached every corner of the world on a scale we have never seen before. Severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2, or better known as COVID-19 today, caused some massive changes in the society. Focusing the scope to our beloved country, Malaysia, let us see what effect it has here, the inventions that have been created, and what initiatives that have been taken to minimize damages. Without further ado, please welcome Muhammad Aidil, who will be explaining technologies and inventions that have come into being in this pandemic.
Thank you, Afiq. Before I would like to elaborate on the points, allow me to enlarge the scope so that the differences on the development of technologies is split into two different segments, local and international. I'll talk about the local scene first. In Malaysia, an app called My.Sejahtera has been launched and implemented in nationwide to enable the Health Ministry to conduct contact tracing, track total of cases in vicinity, and certain dates of vaccination. People can also update their health status. Other similar applications also come into being like Selangorku and Selangkah in Selangor to monitor the citizens. From an international viewpoint, research into vaccine production started as early as the mid-2020s. What used to take years from studies and testing to develop products policies and practice was accelerated to mere months due to massive global funding. Names of vaccines such as AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and Sinovac have become familiar words in the household. On the other hand, inventions after inventions have been innovated to assist controlling this outbreak. In North California, the usage of AI technology such as drones and robots to assist in data collections and medicinal delivery or simulation is used in treating patients. This pandemic forced healthcare workers to upskill themselves and quickly learn the trade. Since we were unable to meet in large groups, it is an obstacle for hospital workers to train and exposure purposes, especially for new workers. This technology keeps healthcare workers' skill and mentality on track even in a globalized pandemic.
Thank you, Aidil. Now, let's continue with our second presenter who will touch on how the citizens of our beloved country deal with this problem.
Gladly, thank you for the opportunity given, Afiq. We can all agree that anxiety and depression is seeping into all Malaysians as we speak. The distress or anxiety in the pandemic probably stem from people limited social interactions, tension among families in lockdown together over a period of time, and fear of illness, says psychiatrist Marcella Richel at the Central Institute for Mental Health in Mannheim, Germany. Studies and surveys conducted so far in the pandemic consistently show that young people, rather than the elderly, are most vulnerable to increased psychological distress, perhaps because their need for social interactions are stronger. First step of prevention is by tackling the psychological impact of the COVID pandemic in a developing country has been particularly tough, says Ms. Lee Hazarika, a clinical psychologist at Guwahati Medical College. Lots of people rely on social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to keep themselves up to date and be communicative. However, since everyone has nothing to do and slots around, they spend too much time with social media. However, as things got dire, there will be a hope, a light shining at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. As so other countries develop a way to aid this problem, Malaysia is not left behind. Applications such as Turn to Me and My Mind to assist people by offering them a completely free online session for counseling to any kinds of people, including young adults. Of course, there are other options too, as in the development of the National Suicide Hotline, such as Befrienders Malaysia, and a website of associations like Malaysian Mental Health Association, MMHA, and Lifeline. Practical solutions such as taking a break from the screen, daily exercise, variants of daily routine to avoid blasted day, and getting a good rest with checking up and calling your loved one can all help.
Just now, we have taken a look at how our country is faring with the pandemic. Let us take a look on a higher scope, which is in a global scale. Take it away, Idham.
Thank you, Afi. I'll be focusing on two main groups who are going through a drastic change in this pandemic, them being students and workers worldwide. I'm going to talk about the students first. We can easily confirm that prolonged online classes cause mental struggles for students. This tendency is worrying. When students feel they cannot cope, they will simply stop turning up for lessons and be absent for the rest of the lessons. The number of lost students is increasing over the months of the pandemic. Neither students nor teachers have been prepared for distance learning and teaching. The teachers were having to learn how to manage distance learning on the fly, sometimes with less than satisfactory results. Students may not have proper gadgets or experience internet disruption, and this adds to the suffering that they have to face. However, all is not lost. Students have variety of ways to avoid these problems. Finding preferred learning style can help build structured life and increase efficiency of learning. They can indulge in offline hobbies to distract themselves from the work pile, and remember to add me time to avoid from being overwhelmed. Teachers always welcome students that need extra help, since we are all in this together. Students should be able to turn to their peers for help and tips and develop a solid tutor-tutee into the system. Online, the resources are endless. In case where a student misses something, they can always look it up online. You can always Google it up or search for an online tutor for help on platforms like YouTube. Now, on the second scope of our topic, the workers. In 2020 to the mid-year of 2021, about 81 million jobs are lost as COVID-19 creates turmoil in Asia-Pacific labor markets. Underemployment increases as millions of workers are asked to work lesser hours or no hours at all. According to our research, working hours in Asia and the Pacific decreased by an estimated 50.2% in the second quarter of 2020. Just a few months ago, we were dealing with the physical impacts of COVID-19, which was stressful to say the least. But now comes a tsunami of economic implication and disastrous mental health sequels, which some workers find hard to deal with. We need to shine light to this problem and believe that with each problem come its solutions. Those who have lost their jobs can take interest on online business. Online business is a particularly popular platform nowadays. Since a lot of people are anxious to go out and about, why not turn into a profit by doing online business? People sign up as volunteers to help at vaccination centers. Countless people put their name down to help distribute food stuff to people being quarantined or people who are facing food shortage.
Indeed, there are so many people affected by this raging pandemic and at such a large scoping. I am certain, however, we will ride the storm. As Ilham said, it's up to us to stop and have the upper hand in this battle. We must not be weak and surrender. Instead, we need to be resilient and adapting ourselves to the virus which will live among us in the years to come. Thousand gratitude, everyone, and stay safe.
Great presentation from this team. Now is the time for the question and answer session. Do you have any questions, audience? Please put them in the chat box below. From user Wan Nur Ashila Hani binti Wan Jamaluddin, the question reads as, global rollouts of various types of vaccines can no longer guarantee a victory over COVID-19 as various variants of virus were formed as time passed by. What is your opinion regarding this matter? Can our presenters help clear the air?
Allow me to answer the question. Oh, global rollouts of various types of vaccines can no longer guarantee a victory over COVID-19. This is correct because even though we will achieve herd immunity in the years to come, however, there will be an assorted variants of mutants of COVID-19. To simplify the case, this is simply like the flu. The flu, even though has been living with us for years to come, its effects has been less worse, making it passing just as a normal cold as referred to in a household. Therefore, in my opinion, we can all live through this. We can just act at COVID-19 as a normal cold or a simple distraction or a simple disease which cause no longer a harm but just a bit of inconvenience. I hope this
Thank you
answers
for the
your question.
response. Do we have any questions from the audience? Next, user Dina Akasha has an inquiry about what difficulties did you face while conducting this research? Any thoughts from the presenters?
I would like to answer the question as well. In my opinion, our group has been thoroughly going through the storm, and mainly because we have only the online researching as a platform. We have to talk to our loved ones for thoughts, and genuinely, it's not much of the fun and the passion about conducting this research. However, rest assured that everything in this research and in this project has been very great, and we have put all of passion in it. But definitely it's because the shortage of our sources, that's for one, and the secondly, we cannot meet up, so it is easier to do the discussions and we have to do it in Google Meet and online Zoom. It's definitely hard, but we definitely can get through it.
Thank you for the answer.
Mafuza, how much time do we have?
We have another 2 minutes.
Well done. Any comments from our this?
Okay, congratulations, Sekolah Menengah Alam Shah, Sains Alam Shah. Okay, let's say you are the president of a mental health society in your school, And the Form 5 students have been complaining about the challenges of online learning and pressure of SPM within the next few months. What kind of program do you think would you conduct to help your fellow students that you can suggest to the school counselor?
I would like to answer this question. What program can we do to overcome their mental health during their online classes is by we can create a simple competition for them to playing games such as Mobile Legend or PUBG. This program can help them to reduce their health anxiety and make them happy to continue their online learning and more fun to continue their learning.
Thank you. Seems that students nowadays are into gaming a lot.
Yes, that is an interesting approach to the question. Then, does Mr. Fahan would like to add on any questions or any thoughts for our presenters?
If I have time, I really like your idea about volunteering as a method or means to reduce stress. Can you further elaborate that and how that can be done to students and young teenagers?
Among young teenagers or adolescents, even though there are many, some of us that are underage, but I mean specifically in 18 and above years old, since that's the only allowed age for the volunteering. In my opinion, I have some relief in helping others to seek for help, to seek for support from other people. And when they receive it, the gratitude that you receive can exceed much more than the happiness, and it serves as a distraction of your anxiety and mental health. Therefore, it can prove very effective. For example, if you have helped the other people and you have given your support, and therefore, I think, in my opinion, it can lead to happiness welling up in us and distract us from the anxiety that we have in the common life. I hope that answers your question, Sats.
Yes, very good. Interesting point of view.
So the period for the Q&A session is up. I hope the presenter's answer helped to clear the air. Thank you to the team from Sekolah Menengah Sains Alam Shah. Well, let's now hear from the next team, Madrasah Aliyah Negeri 2, Mojokerto, East Java, Indonesia, Barizal Matovani and Salsa Dita Iliana Riva to proceed with their video presentations with their title, The Utilizing of Majapahit Leaves as Majacentia Antiseptic Liquid Soap. Now I give you the stage.
Good morning, honorable to the judges. My name is Rizal Matovani. I'm from Mantu, Mojokerto, Indonesia. I would like to introduce my teammates.
Hi, I'm Dita.
Hello, I'm Hamid.
I am Bella.
Today, we proudly present to you our research of the utilizing of Majapahit leaf, Tiracentia tuyete, as Majacentia antiseptic liquid soap.
Health is a top of priority that needs attention, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Global COVID-19 cases on August 4, 2021 were for about 200 million people. The death rate was for about 400 million people. One way to prevent infection with COVID-19 is to wash your hands with soap. This is in line with the goal of SDG3, which is to ensure healthy life and promote well-being for all at all ages. Soap that can clean dirt and bacteria are known as antiseptic soaps. Generally, antiseptic soaps are treated as antibacterial agent. Excessive use of triclosan can have a negative impact. So, we need other alternative materials that can replace the active substance triclosan as antibacterial, one of which is the leaf of Majapahit plants. The leaves of Majapahit plant contain alkaloid, saponin, and tannin that can inhibit bacterial growth. so that they have the potential as antiseptic liquid soap. Therefore, we made Majacentia antiseptic liquid soap made from Majapahit leaves. This study aims to determine the quality of Majacentia antiseptic liquid soap and its inhibitory effectiveness against Escherichia coli bacteria.
Research design. This research was conducted experimentally. Laboratory study using the dextivation method. In the study, there were 5 kinds of formulations. There is commercial soap brand X as positive control, and liquid soap without extract as negative control, and liquid soap with the addition of 0.5 grams, 1.5 grams, and 2 grams of extract as formulation 1, formulation 2, and formulation 3.
Research variable. Free variable. Addition of Majapahit leaf extract in making liquid soap. Control variable. The volume of soap that is dripped on the Dix paper is 0.1 milliliter. Bound variable. Clear zone around Dix paper.
The procedure for making Majapahit leaf extract through 3 stages. First, making Simplicia begins with washing the leaf of Majapahit using running water, drained and dried. Then it is mixed and filtered to get a homogeneous Simplicia. After that, the maceration process, Simplicia and 96% ethanol were mixed in a ratio of 1:10, then stirred for 5 minutes, stirred for 4 days with daily stirring for 5 minutes. After 4 days, filtered to get the filtrate. The last, the distillation process is carried out by evaporating the filtered until a thick extract of Majapahit leaf is obtained.
The procedure for making antiseptic liquid soap goes through 3 stages, starting with mix all the basic ingredients for making liquid soap until you get a soap base and let it sit for a few hours. Next, mix the base soap and aqueous in a ratio of 1:1 and stir until liquid soap is obtained. And then mix the liquid soap with 0 grams of extract as negative control and 0.5 grams, 1.5 grams, 2 grams as formulation 1, formulation 2, formulation 3, and prepare brand X commercial soap as positive control.
To determine the quality of antiseptic liquid soap, a quality test was conducted, which covered tests of antibacterial, organoleptic test, pH test, foam height test, homogeneity test, irritation test, and hedonic test.
Antibacterial tests aim to determine the effectiveness of the inhibitory power of Majacentia antiseptic liquid soap against Escherichia coli bacteria. The results of the antibacterial test on formulation 3 had the largest average inhibition of 14.05 mm, which was categorized as strong according to Davis and Stout 1971 as cited in Timpudus et al. 270.
Organoleptic test is used to determine the physical appearance of the compound, which includes shape, color, and smell. The result of the organoleptic test on all formulations did not change in smell, color, and shape during 4 weeks of storage. The conclusion is that Majacentia antiseptic liquid soap achieved the required standard set by the Indonesian national standard.
The pH test was to determine the degree of the soap acidity because it is not in accordance with the skin pH by Indonesian national standard. It can cause irritation. The test results show that positive control has a pH of 5, while at negative control, formulation 1, formulation 2, formulation 3 has the same pH, that is pH 11. For 4 weeks kept in the storage, it can be concluded that negative control, formulation 1, formulation 2, and formulation 3. Preparation are made in the Indonesian National Standard pH 8 up to 11.
The foam height test was carried out to see the strength of the foam produced by the liquid soap. The test results showed that until the fourth week, all formulation foam height are met the requirement of the Indonesian national standard, that is 13 to 220 millimeters.
Organic tests aim to see the presence or absence of granules in the preparation. The results of the homogeneity test until the fourth week in all formulation did not contain granules, so can be said to be homogeneous.
Irritation tests aim to determine the presence or absence of a reaction in the form of irritation to the skin. The result of the irritation test on the shelf life of soap for 4 weeks did not show any irritation in 12 panelists.
Hedonic test. This test was conducted to determine the panel's level of acceptance to the resulting product. The results of the test conducted with 12 panelists show that in negative control, formulation 1 and formulation 2, there were 3 panelists who stated they did not like it, while at positive control, there were 2 panelists who did not like it. And in formulation 3, there was 1 panelist who said that they did not like it.
Based on the test results, formulation 3 has better antibacterial and the best foam height to test results compared to other formulation. In the pH test, formulation 3 had the same results as other formulation, but better than positive control. So, we used formulation 3 as the basic formulation for making Majacentia antiseptic liquid soap.
Sabun cair antiseptik dari ekstrak daun maja. Kira-kira kandungannya apa ya daun maja ini sehingga kalian buat untuk sabun antiseptik?
Benar, ini aman. Gak bikin iritasi?
Kira-kira untuk siswa mahal nggak ya?
Majacentia antiseptic liquid soap has gone through various quality tests. One of them is irritation test. The result of this test indicate that Majacentia antiseptic soap does not cause irritation. In addition, Majacentia antiseptic liquid soap use Majapahit leaf extract as an antibacterial agent because it contains alkaloids.
I'm sorry for the technical glitches as we have seen so far. It is such an innovative and informative presentation. You know the drill. The chat box is open to any inquiries from our presenters. From our audience.
We have a question from user Delalita. The question is, what are the advantages of your research? Can our presenters kindly answer this question?
Okay, thanks for the question. The interesting for my research is utilizing something worthless, that is Majapahit leaf, become something valuable, that is Majacentia antiseptic liquid soap. Our soap does not use triclosan, which have negative effect, but uses Majapahit leaf extract as an antibacterial agent.
Thank you for the answer. Next, the question reads as, how do you think this innovation is able to ensure that we will not be infected with the COVID-19? Any thoughts from the presenters? Presenters?
Yes, thanks for your question. We carry out 7 quality tests to testing matcha sentia antiseptic liquid soap. One of them is the antibacterial test.
Thank you for the response. So, Azmina,
Then would the judges pose any questions or give any comments for our presenters?
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Good morning. Congratulations, you have presented a very good project on creating liquid soap that can be useful in keeping good personal hygiene. Different concentrations was used in the study, and the highest concentration, that was formula 3, was chosen as the formula of choice. Was there any side effect from using the high concentration formula?
Pardon, can you repeat the question and more slowly, please?
Okay. In this study, you use different concentration, different formulas, isn't it? You have formula 1, formula 2, formula 3, and finally you choose formula 3, which use the highest concentration, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so was there any side effects of using the higher concentration formula?
From the different concentration, we has EPIC conclude the result of my research on formulation 3 has greater inhibition cannot can inhibit bacterial growth. So we use formulation 3 to
I would like to add to that.
Yeah.
So we use the formulation 3 to make matcha sentia antiseptic liquid soap.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your feedback. Do we still have time, Mafuza?
yes, we have another 1 minute.
Then any more comments from Mr. Fahan?
First of all, very good presentation. I'm impressed with what you guys have presented to us. My question is, as you guys know, research don't necessarily go the way they are. So, what is the most surprising thing that you encounter during your research? What surprises you the most?
Thanks for your question. We're utilizing something worthless, that is a matcha pahit leaf, become something valuable, that is matcha sentia antiseptic liquid soap. Our soap does not use trichosan, which has a negative effect for skin, but we use matcha pahit leaf extract as an antibacterial agent to replace the trichosan.
Okay.
Thank you again for the feedback. And thank you to this team. And I hope their answers help clear everyone's curiosities. And thank you to the judges again.
Welcome.
Before we adjourn, I would like to remind you that there is an online quiz posted in the chat box below. Now we will watch a presentation regarding the quiz. don't we have a treat for the audience now?
Oh yes, right Azmina, I almost forgot. Listening and watching all these presentations must have been exhausting, right? To our delight, we have cultural performance made by 7 participating countries. Hence, let's enjoy the performance together.
Wait, Mahfuza, before that, thank you to the judges, teachers, participants, and audience present for your undivided attention throughout this session. We'll resume in the next session at 10:30 a.m. with the same link. Now, let's watch the performances. Bye!
Today we are going to preview some amazing Thai cultures in our school. So let's move on to the first one. Is the Thai boxing, or we call it Muay Thai in Thai language. So in our school we have physical education lessons that teach us about Muay Thai. The main purpose of the lessons is to teach us how to protect ourselves using Muay Thai moves such as kicking, punching, and elbowing, and to learn some move sets called Wai Kru, which are the moves used in a famous ceremony for showing a respect to Muay Thai teachers. And this is another pictures about the Muay Thai performance in our school.
Next, we're going to talk about the Loi Krathong Festival in Emirates. Because in our school, we also have some interesting cultural events in Loi Krathong Festival during November. In this festival, many students in our school would wear traditional Thai clothes, and of course, there would be a lot of krathongs. As you can see in these pictures, the thing that the students are holding is what we call krathongs in Thai. Krathongs are the decorated slices of banana tree trunks with some fashion leaves and candles. In Thai beliefs, we would later float the krathong in the body of water in order to thank the goddess of water, which we call Pama Kongka in Thai. And furthermore, we also have various range of delicacies and live music played by students and teachers in this festival too.
And another cultural performance in Emirates, Thai dance or Lam Thai in Thai language, is a combination of graceful body movements in Thai traditional music like Ying Thai Chai Ngam, Dwang Chan Khwan Pha. Dancers also wear elaborate Thai silk costumes with colorful art and patterns. Thai dance performed by a group of people dancing in a circle path is called Ram Wong. Authentic Thai dance is taught for grade 10 students. After the lesson, students will perform it in the MWIT open house, like in the photo. And you can see me in green shirt. This picture from MWIT Memory and MWIT Media. Thank you.
एहसास थोड़ा तो जगाए अपने दिलों में हम सिंदूरी गालों वाला सूरज जो करे ठिठोली क्या नाम है अपना जहां में खड़े हैं कहां पे हम शर्मीले थे तो को ढकने चूनर पीली पीली घूंघट में रंग पनघट में रंग चम चम चमकीला वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम सारे जहां के अच्छा
दिल वाली ने किस्मत वाली ने हमें खत लिखा है कि हमसे पूछा है
एहसास थोड़ा तो जगाए अपने दिलों में क्या नाम है अपना जहां में खड़े हैं कहां पे हम हमें जाना कहां चले हैं कहां पे हमसे पूछे ये माफी
कि घर कब आओगे कि घर कब आओगे लिखो कब आओगे कि तुम बिन ये दिल सुना सुना है कुछ करिए नस नस मेरी खोले हाय कुछ करिए बस बस बड़ा बोले अब कुछ करिए
तेरा नाम है साचा मुझ मेरी रानी पाचा बदनाम तेरा माँ हो एक पहचान मेरी तू ही जिद जान मेरी तू ही जहान मेरा
Hello everyone, welcome to our Turkish culture presentation today. And as you can guess from our title, we would like to make you informed about the Turkish culture today. So, who are we? Let me introduce myself. I am Elif Nur Sorkun, and my other presentation partners are İbrahim Bayhan, Özgür Ozan Güray, Emir Emiroğlu, Merve Dilsizoğlu, and Zeynep Erdoğan. Also, we have two esteemed teachers who are called Ayşe Şule Kılınç and Öznur Özcü. So, as we said, today we are going to make you informed about our Turkish culture more by giving some details, stories, and myths. So, let's get started.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ibrahim Bayhan, and I'll firstly introduce our school before giving information about our country's culture. So I'm going to talk about our school and its atmosphere a bit. Firstly, Beşiktaş Sakıp Sabancı Anatolian High School is an international IB school which is located in Beşiktaş in Istanbul. We feel lucky for this because Beşiktaş is one of the best neighborhoods in Istanbul. Furthermore, our school's education is for 5 years because we have English preparation classes as well, and all of us are ninth graders here. What is more, we have so many different clubs in our school, and we believe they are really important for school atmosphere.
Hello everyone, I am Merve. You can see the Turkish national anthem. It's İstiklal Marşı, which means Independence March. It was written by Mehmet Akif Ersoy, and I would like to quote something from our anthem. Who would not sacrifice their life for this paradise of a country? We see that it represents the difficulties, the efforts, and loyalty during the Turkish War of Independence. Even just by reading, we feel like we were there because it is deeply touching. Here is the map of Turkey. As you can see, we have a lot of regions and everything changes city to city. For example, climate, food, traditions, the way of people think. The person you see in the picture is Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the founder of the Turkish Republic. We owe him a lot. Because of him, we gained our independence. And Atatürk means a lot to the Turkish people. He led our people during the war. If he hadn't tried so hard, we wouldn't have gotten our freedom.
Hello everybody, my name is Özgür Özam, and I would like to give some information about Maiden's Tower. Well, Maiden's Tower has an ancient history. According to the studies, Maiden's Tower was made by Alcibiades in order to control the ships and in order to defend the area against enemies. Maiden's Tower has rebuilt a lot throughout history, and Maiden's Tower is really famous at the moment. It is still visited by many people today.
Hello, I'm Zeynep Erdoğan, and I'm going to tell you the romantic story of Galata Tower, which is located in the Beyoğlu district of Istanbul. According to the myth, Galata Tower and Maiden's Tower are in love with each other, but the Bosphorus between them prevents lovers from meeting. Galata Tower writes its love in letters for years. When the Turkish scholar Hüdakan Ahmet Çelebi, who was the first to fly in the world, went there to realize his dream of flying, the Galata Tower whispers its love for the Maiden's Tower in his ear and gives the letters to him. His Arfan delivers the letters to the Maiden's Tower, realizing that its love is not platonic. Maiden's Tower leaps for joy. These two lovers' deep feelings for each other helped them to challenge the centuries and create the most beautiful view of Istanbul.
So, let's talk about some food, shall we? Sultan's Delight. What's the story behind this Turkish well-known food? In 1867, the third Napoleon and his wife, Empress Eugene, were hosting the Ottoman Emperor Sultan Abdulaziz, whom they invited for an international exhibition in Paris. It was here that Sultan Abdulaziz first met Eugene. 2 years after this encounter, Abdulaziz still could not forget Eugene, and Eugene could not forget him. But Empress Eugene was also invited to the opening of the Suez Canal that year. On her way to Egypt by ship, she stopped by Abdulaziz in Constantinople. History says that Eugene and Sultan Abdulaziz spent that night together. alone. The two lovers had met in Constantinople at the end of a 2-year adventure. However, the story did not have a happy ending. The faces of the lovers did not smile again. Abdulaziz was deposed and killed. Napoleon III was exiled with his wife Eugene. The love story did not end there, and the recipe is left for us a memory. We are talking about Sultan's life. Yes, the Sultan in this meal is Sultan Abdulaziz himself. Rumor is that when Empress Eugene came to Istanbul, she brought her cook with her. While her cook was preparing bechamel sauce in kitchen, he caught the attention of the Ottoman cook. And the Ottoman cook did an experiment by adding roasted eggplant to the bechamel sauce. He added the meat that the emperor loved throughout history and presented it to the Sultan. Since the Sultan loved the food very much, the name of the dish became Sultan's life.
And I'm going to present you Turkish cuisine's one of stars, Höşmerim. And I'm going to talk about the story behind this delight. And according to the rumor, the man of the house who goes to the military returns home with peace and joy after doing his military service for many years. Mrs. Fadime is very happy to see her life partner, whom she loves more than her life, in front of her. She decides to set a table for her valiant, but there's no food ready to serve at home. While thinking about what to do, she catches her eye on the fresh cheese hanging in the strainer. Mrs. Fadime decides to prepare something from cheese. She starts to cook the fresh cheese on a low flame. She cooks it by adding egg yolk, sugar, and semolina flour. Mrs. Fadime looks at the pot. It smells good, and the bowl looks good too. She's happy with what she has done. Will the valiant like the meal? She presents her meal to her valiant, and after waiting for him to eat a little, she says curiously, "Hoş mu erim?" Which means in English, "Is it good, my valiant?" she asks, and her husband appreciates Mrs. Fadime by saying, "Hoş, hoş," in English, "good, good." Happily, this famous dessert of Balıkesir is called Höşmerim when it is told from mouth to mouth, from ear to ear.
After this narration, we would like to end our presentation for today. And thanks for listening and thanks for your attention. And here you can see our names again. Also, if you would like to learn more about us and our school, you can check the Instagram and the name is written here. Again, thank you for listening and see you in the symposium. Bye.
Such a beautiful cultural performance from all 7 countries. Assalamualaikum and welcome back. I wish the honorable judges, teachers, guests, and participants to the 9th Online Fully Residential School International Symposium 2021. Greetings to our new viewers too. We would like to inform you that there is an online quiz posted in the chat box below. For your information, if you manage to answer 80% of the questions correctly, you will be rewarded with an International Achievement e-certificate. The online quiz will be open until tomorrow, Monday at 10 a.m. Make sure to be on the lookout for the quiz.
Now, let me reintroduce our judges. We have with us again our Chief Judge, Dr. Nur Anita C. Omar, the Consultant Ophthalmologist from Hospital Sultanah Nur Zahira. Then, our second judge is Mr. Muhammad Farhan bin Adnan from Sekolah Menengah Sains Hulu Terengganu. And we have a third judge who is Miss Nur Azina Mat Saad from the Malay College Kuala Kangsar. But Miss Azina is not with us online today due to unforeseen circumstances, but she will watch the YouTube live and award the marks accordingly. We are grateful to have you today, judges.
And this is us again, me, Mafuza Andina Muzarmin, and my co-moderator, Nur Azmina Zamia Muhammad Nur Al-Azad from Sekolah Seri Puteri are the moderators for today's session. Let me remind you of the rules. First, the presentation must focus on the sub-theme assigned to the team. In this track, the sub-theme is Healthcare Innovations and Mental Health Anxiety Management during the pandemic. Second, the duration of the video presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. Lastly, a question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. In this session, we are going to look at presentations from the next 6 teams.
To start us off in this session, I would like to invite Team Sekolah Menengah Sains Tuanku Aisyah Rohani to proceed with their video presentation with the title Healthcare Innovations and Mental Health Anxiety Management During the Pandemic. We are now joined with Amni Farhana binti Zohairimi and Sarah binti Zul Azmi.
Good day, I bid to everyone. We are representatives from Sekolah Menengah Sains Tuanku Aisyah Rohani here to present on the issue of the gains and losses from healthcare innovations and mental health anxiety management throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Bringing forward today's issues, is the world ready to embrace healthcare innovations during the pandemic? Mental health anxiety of individuals has worsened due to this pandemic. And the most important question of all, as much as COVID-19 has destroyed the whole world, is there a silver lining to it? We believe that the current pandemic is truly a blessing in disguise. To answer the question, we highlight 3 keywords to this issue, which are cope, acknowledge, and unite. Using these keywords, we will show you how the gains and the losses can be seen through this pandemic. The disease outbreak has taught the community to become creative and innovative to create medical tools in order to cope with this deadly disease. Individuals also learn to rely on new coping strategies that are more effective in order to cope and manage with their mental health during this pandemic. Moving on to the next point, acknowledge. As the world revolves along with the pandemic, many talents are acknowledged for inventing great creations to contribute to the innovation of healthcare. In terms of anxiety management, individuals are more aware and sensitive towards the change in their mental health condition. Now, mental health is getting more acknowledgement ever since the pandemic with increased exposure in social media and helplines. Lastly, the point unite. We see lots of countries around the globe joining hands and as well as looking out for each other combating the outbreak. In the matter of managing mental health, this pandemic has brought everyone together, especially in helping others that struggle with their mental health during this tough time. Our goal is to acknowledge the variety of innovations created throughout the pandemic and to understand the challenges of COVID-19 that can trigger anxiety and how we should cope with it. The methods used in our presentation are surveys that focus on our targeted audience group, which are frontliners and students sitting for SPM and final year degree. Not only that, we also conducted research and one-to-one interviews with frontliners who are our school counseling teacher and a medical doctor for their opinions regarding this matter. You might wonder, why do we target this specific group? Well, we aim to know how the two most affected groups gain or lost in terms of healthcare innovations and healthcare management. Today, I will touch on two items, mainly on tools and technologies used to curb COVID-19. Loads of medical tools are either created or innovated. In particular, low-cost, high-performance ventilators going by the name of GemVent. The benefit of this tool is that it uses simple components and is easy to assemble and straightforward to manufacture with low-cost components. This creation benefits us in other ways too, as we will be able to overcome the shortage of supply in hospitals full of emergency cases and help the community in rural and under-resourced areas where they don't have the access to health facilities. Other than that, Axial 3D, an AI software company, 3D prints nasal testing swabs. This way, a large number of products are produced in less time. This helps clinics all around the world to monitor the spread of the virus better. According to an interview with a frontliner, she opined that this innovation allows us to check and see if we catch the virus or not, saving our time and reducing the risks of going to crowded places to take a swab test. And the most important medical innovation above all, the vaccine that is specially made to handle this pandemic. It helps all layers of the community to prevent from getting infected by the virus. We also gain from this innovation as it decreases the death rate of COVID-19 patients. But sadly, in reality, the tools can also be seen as a loss to some of us. For instance, some tools are costly, so some people could not afford it, even though it is beneficial for their health. Human acceptance is also one of the losses. For example, European countries are particular about human rights, so it might take them a while to accept the innovations. A variety of technology was also put to use. For example, drones help to deliver medical supplies to remote areas with constraint of technology advancement without putting people at risk for COVID-19 exposure, as there is no face-to-face interaction. This decreases the percentage of people exposed to this virus. The government also benefits from this, as they can make sure not only developed areas get help, but the community in rural areas too. Next, robots are also being utilized by picking up and delivering items to and from patients, reducing in-person interactions, especially between the frontline workers and patients. Robots assist the frontliners, lightening their burdens. This way, more patients can be cured and aid as they are attended to. Lastly, a sanitizing spray machine. This invention is truly a lifesaver to the community, as it is safe to use on all sorts of electronic devices with no worry of damaging them. The fog kills pathogens in the air, purifying them to increase the air quality. This technology really brings benefits to all of us, as it is able to disinfect a larger area in a shorter amount of time. Some of the losses experienced, for example, the community in remote areas, are slightly neglected as they have difficulties in reaching out for help to carry out their daily tasks. For instance, when the food is out of stock during the lockdown. Not only that, third world countries also face difficulties to cope with the pandemic, as they are not caught up with the technology development. Be that as it may, it is clear that refurbishment in technology is a stepping stone in revamping the course of human life during a pandemic.
Ladies and gentlemen, before getting into anxiety management, we must understand what is anxiety. Anxiety is one of the most common forms of mental illness and our body's natural response to stress. It's a feeling of fear about what's next to come. Environmental stresses can cause anxiety, and in this case, the COVID-19 pandemic, as we experience challenges in living environments and stressful situations such as social isolation. Common symptoms of anxiety includes increased heart rate, rapid breathing, restlessness, trouble in concentrating, and difficulty in falling asleep. So, ladies and gentlemen, this COVID-19 pandemic is seen to be a great loss, as it has affected and worsened the mental health of individuals. Among common issues faced includes anxiety. Hence, anxiety management is deemed to be very essential during this period of time. To prove this, we conducted a survey with two groups, students and frontliners. Based on the survey, out of 79 students, 28% mention of their increased level of anxiety. Based on the Generalized Anxiety Disorder Assessment G87 score, during this pandemic, 35% indicates mild anxiety, 24% indicates moderate anxiety, 8% indicates severe anxiety. Based on the survey, we further categorized the challenges that has impacted their anxiety level and their coping strategies into 3 groups: social, mental, and physical. These are among the common responses we got. From the responses, we found out that most respondents struggle with challenges in terms of mental health. This includes 76% of students with excessive worry about own health and loved ones, and stress that leads to depressive thoughts associated with COVID-19. To overcome this issue, anxiety management strategies are taken. These are all the ways how people cope with anxiety based on the responses from our survey. So what are the gains and losses that can be seen here? From social aspects, respondents stated to have good time management. This is a gain to individuals. As researcher Brad Ayon explains, time management helps people feel better about their lives because it helps them schedule their day-to-day, giving them a feeling of self-accomplishment. Researchers also noted that time management skills can have an effect on anxiety and stress. However, steps like connecting with family and friends is seen as a loss, with no face-to-face interaction due to the MCO. This may affect the quality of the engagement as we no longer connect with others in the same manner we used to. From mental health aspect, most respondents mentioned that practicing breathing and relaxation techniques helps them to calm down. According to University of Michigan Health, the way we breathe affects our whole body. Breathing exercises are a good way to relax, reduce tension, and relieve stress. Lastly, in physical health terms, the most common answer is to practice a healthy lifestyle. Researchers found those who exercise vigorously and regularly are 25% less likely to develop an anxiety disorder within 5 years. One of the other way is taking leave from work when things start to get overwhelming. This could be seen as a gain to individuals as they can take time to rest, but would gain loss to the productivity of a workplace. We also conducted an interview with Juan Salvia, a school counseling teacher, to further understand more about anxiety. According to Juan Salvia, to manage anxiety, we must practice a healthy lifestyle. This includes exercising regularly, eating a consistent diet, taking supplements if needed, and of course, getting enough rest. She also added that seeking help from family and friends is important, but if things get worse, seeking professional help from mental health counseling services is necessary. Nur Hidayah, a doctor at Tuanku Jafar Hospital, said that this COVID-19 pandemic can be a very tough time for frontliners, especially with challenges such as lack of manpower. So, she tries spending more time with her family and watch movies or cartoons during her leisure time. According to a psychologist, distracting ourselves could be as effective as engaging in anxiety-busting techniques such as mindfulness. In conclusion, anxiety management strategies can either act as a gain or a consummate loss to individuals when dealing with the spread of COVID-19. Hence, we must shift from the mindset of the pandemic is controlling our life to we control our behavior during this pandemic. This COVID-19 pandemic can be an arduous chapter to everyone. We might be afraid of change and losing up something good, but we may gain something better at the very end of the day. With that being said, that is all from us. Thank you very much.
What a brilliant presentation from this team. To continue on, we will proceed with the question and answer session. I would like to invite the audience to ask any questions regarding the presentation. You may put them in the chat box below. First of all, user Damia Kistina has an inquiry about many children has lost their loved one due to COVID-19. How could we have children who suffer from anxiety and won't speak up about their problem as they don't trust anybody, neither a therapist? So, any thoughts from our presenters?
Allow me to answer this question. Okay, first of all, thank you very much for the question. Many children has lost their loved one due to COVID-19. How could we help children who suffer from anxiety and won't speak up about their problem? So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that the most common issues faced by teenagers that won't speak up about their anxiety problems or their mental health problems is maybe because of the society stigma where students facing anxiety are considered as weak, and their mental health problems are considered as their personal weakness. So I think that first of all we must educate others first, educate ourselves and educate our others to reduce this stigma and to become more open-minded about this matter. And in terms of helping them to speak up, if they won't speak up, then we must be proactive and be aware of the people around us, of our teenage children, of how they are acting, and try to sense if they are showing any symptoms of anxiety. And when we become more aware and engaged in the environment and with the people around us, then we can approach them slowly and ask them to speak up. And instead of invalidating how they feel, we must constantly provide support for them so that they feel comfortable to speak up to us and provide a very safe environment and very safe situation for them. That's my opinion about this. Thank you.
Thank you for the excellent response. Any more questions from the audience? We have a question from user Hannah Muazzam. In your opinion, what is the best way to overcome anxiety during this pandemic?
I'll take this question. Okay, so first of all, we must identify what is causing our anxiety. Is it because of online learning? Is it because of social isolation? And after we identify what causes our anxiety, what triggers our anxiety, then we can take preventive measures. Then we can take preventive measures in order to avoid this, and see what kind of way suits us best, because different people have different coping strategies. So for instance, if you are very stressed out and you love watching comedy, then you can maybe indulge in comedy dramas to help relieve stress. Or maybe if you want someone to talk to, then maybe you can consider opening up to your friends. So I think that it's best if we identify what's the best way for us to overcome this anxiety issue.
Thank you for the excellent response. Okay, Azmina, please proceed.
Now, any inquiries from our judges?
Assalamualaikum, and congratulations on a very good analysis on gains and losses during the pandemic. My question is, how can you contribute to the society in addressing the mental health issues during this pandemic?
Okay, I will answer the question. Okay, so how we could contribute in managing anxiety during this pandemic. So first of all, as I mentioned earlier, we could bring more awareness to people, spread awareness for them to understand more about anxiety. And also, as we as a friend, we could offer support to friends and be aware of the people around us, be aware of our environment. I think that during times like this, it's very important for us to actually be active and actually look up to everyone around us, our family members, our sisters, our brothers, and be more engaged with them during this time and offer them help and support as much as we could during this pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, actually, 5 minutes have gone by. Thank you again to this team, and thank you again to the judges.
To proceed further, let's welcome the team from Mahidol Wittayanu School, Nakhon Pathom, Thailand, with the presenters Tanakorn Chantarumat and Wachirawe Pusuan to move on with their research video with their title COVID-19 Patient Severity Analyzer. The stage is yours.
Hello, our group JGR from Mahidol Wittayanu School, Thailand, would like to present you a project called COVID-19 Patient Severity Analyzer. The developer of this project consists of Thanakorn Chantarumat, Neshavatri Mahabiti, and Wachilawit Posuwan. We also have Ms. Thanyarat Damkok as our supervisor. Nowadays, we have been encountering COVID-19 pandemic since early 2020. As the pandemic continues, many problems occurred, such as lack of hospital beds and medical personnel, ineffective patient severity management, and some patients cannot access to appliances for tracking their symptoms. As the number of patients increases, patient severity management is more concerned. According to the United States Health and Human Services, patient severity can be divided into 3 stages: mild, moderate, and severe, according to their symptoms and blood oxygen level. Our main objective is to make an appliance that can analyze COVID-19 patient severity in order to help medical personnel to organize the patient care system more efficiently. Our project method has 3 steps. First, we design the appearance of our device. Next, we will work on the in-depth function and how our device will analyze the information given. And finally, we will check the accuracy of our device through sample testing. In the first step, we design the model of our device. Here are some sketches of our device from different views.
Our device contains 5 main components: oximeter, wiper, thermal camera, touchscreen, and card channel. First, the card channel is for patients to insert their ID card to verify their identity. Oximeter is used to measure a patient's blood oxygen level. Thermal camera for patient body temperature. Touchscreen for patients to fill out the form about symptoms. And wiper for cleaning the touchscreen and oximeter after each patient will with 20% alcohol from the small holes on wiper, as you can see the red dots for safety. Next, the information will be sent to medical personnel for further analysis and patient management. Device will show a range of symptoms that patient can choose. Selected symptoms will be categorized into 3 groups. If the patient has only 1 symptom in any of the criteria, it is considered that they will.
Let's get started with the various groups of patients. The first one is mild stage. There are dry cough, fatigue, headache, and lot of taste and smell. Another 2 important parameters are body temperature and blood oxygen level. For mild patients, their temperature should be lower than 38 degrees Celsius and oxygen level be greater than 95%. Patients that were grouped with this stage can do home isolation to alleviate their symptoms. For moderate patients, their temperature is higher than 38 degrees Celsius and oxygen level is below 95%. Common symptoms at this stage are chills, repeated shaking, deep cough. Patients in this stage should be admitted to a field hospital. Lastly, the severe stage. Patient temperature is also higher than 38 degrees Celsius and oxygen is below the 95%. Patients in this stage often suffer from shortness of breath, sheer discomfort, confusion, and trouble staying awake. Patients in this stage should make their way to the ICU as fast as possible.
In the sample testing step, we will collect data from the patient who has been diagnosed by a doctor to test the accuracy of the device. Next, we will use the device in field hospitals, local hospitals, and hospitals for 4 weeks to inquire feedback from medical personnel. Our expected results are reduced risk of medical personnel getting infected by patients and to facilitate critically ill patients to promptly access assistance. These are the references for some information and pictures. That's all for our presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for that interesting presentation from this team. Now we will commence the question and answer session. If any of the audience have any inquiries, you may put them in the chat box below. Since there are no questions yet from the audience, would the judges please give any comments for the presenters?
Good morning. Congratulations for presenting a good project on developing a medical device that can be very useful. What were the challenges and limitations in your research project?
For the question, the limitation of our project. Firstly, in the situation in Thailand at the moment, the pandemic is still very violent too. So due to this reason, we cannot test our device yet because we cannot distribute our device through many hospitals yet, and we cannot go to collect our result yet because we fear that we will get infected too. So we have to wait for the pandemic to lower the severity yet. To lower the severity, then we will progress further in our project. Thank you.
Next, does Mr. Farhan would like to give any thoughts or have any inquiries for our presenters?
Okay, good morning. I greet you guys. Thank you and congratulations on your very well thought of project. Now, for my question, it's going to be related to the track that we are in. What or how do you believe your project can help improve the mental health of people surrounding you or the people who are using your project? Can you elaborate on that and how it helps boost the mental health or reduce the negative effect of mental illness? Thank you.
Um, and for this question, we think that our project can improve patients and other mental health because this project, if we use this device to analyze the symptoms that any people have, so maybe we think that if we can analyze the patient's symptoms level like mild, moderate, severe, and this will lower our anxiety of if if we are really infected by COVID-19 or if we are really severe at COVID-19. Yeah, I think in this thing we can lower the anxiety and in order to increase the mental health of patients in during pandemic time. Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback. Since we still have more time, don't let your mind stay silent, audience. Put your questions in the chat box below.
So here is the first question from user Alif Husaini. How about the cost for the innovation? So the presenters, can you answer this question?
At now we already create about prototype, but doesn't consider about material to use to build a real innovation. This we have only prototype, but it's about 30 or $40, I think.
Thank you for the answer. Next, we have a question from user Nur Hafiza Zailan. The question is, what are the challenges faced while conducting your research? Any thoughts from the presenters?
Okay, for these questions, yes, we have faced a lot of challenges through this development of this project. Two of the challenges we are facing right now is about the circuit of our innovation, because the circuit is quite complex and we have to deal with we have to research a lot and ask the teacher for advice a lot too. And another challenge is just like we said at the beginning, the situation in Thailand is quite not good. The pandemic is still quite severe. There are still a lot of infection in Thailand, so in this step, in this reason, we cannot distribute our device clearly, and we are also fear of getting infected right now. Thank you.
Well, the period for the question and answer session is up. Thank you again for your feedbacks and response from this team, and of course, thank you, judges. Continuing with the event, let us have College Islam Sultan Alam Shah to present their findings with the title Halicon, a modern take on anxiety management. Let us welcome Aiman Mujadid bin Muhammad Zaki and Lufia Loh binti Muhammad Ridwan.
COVID-19, everyone knows how dangerous it is in damaging our respiratory system, but not many of us are aware of how dangerous it is in damaging our mental health. Wong et al. 2021 conducted a cross-sectional online survey using Zhang's self-rating anxiety questionnaire during the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown. Out of the 983 respondents, a big majority experienced levels of anxiety. Since the pandemic started, a lot more people have been developing mental health issues. This includes students who are suffering from anxiety due to the excessive workload and the need to adapt to the new online learning method. In spite of adapting to the changes in the new norm of learning, students from fully residential schools, which are SPP students, uncompromisingly are expected to excel in both academic and co-curricular activities. Anxiety isn't something to joke around about. It is a very serious matter that can lead to more severe consequences and even suicide if not handled properly. Before the pandemic, there were various ways to manage or cope with anxiety, such as seeing a psychiatrist, meeting up with close friends, or joining community services. But the pandemic made it impossible to do those things. This sparked a need for a new method that is more effective and efficient in managing anxiety during these times. The study was conducted to propose anxiety management via the development of an online platform. The aim is to develop a new app that overcomes the shortcomings of conventional methods, therefore allowing better anxiety management. The name decided for the app is Halcyon. This app potentially helps not only SPP students but everyone to manage their anxiety better. A survey regarding the effectiveness of Halcyon was disseminated to 100 SPP students across Malaysia through Google Form for easy access. A poster on Halcyon's features was attached to the survey to provide better understanding on the app. All the methods used to conduct the study were validated by a health science doctor from UKM, ensuring the accuracy of the research outcomes.
Halcyon is an app aimed to improve anxiety management, especially during this pandemic. The name Halcyon was chosen for this app because it means calm, which highlights our goal that this app is able to help its users to achieve calmness through hard times. There are 4 main features included in this app. First of all, Halcyon acts as a platform that allows its users to share their problems with others and have their own support group. This helps to boost motivation and provides more support to the users. People who prefer extra privacy can opt for the incognito mode that allows them to chat anonymously. This makes Halcyon very user-friendly. Furthermore, users can customize reminders based on their needs through this app. From exercising to doing chores, Halcyon has got your back. Alarms go off and trigger the users to complete their tasks. This feature allows the users to have a more structured lifestyle. In addition, users can keep track of their moods daily through the mood tracker feature. Halcyon suggests activities for the users to do based on their current mood to help them relax. Users can also view the chart provided to help them identify any changes in their mood, which allows them to recognize problems that they are going through. Last but not least, entertainment such as music, motivational videos, and religious readings are also included in this app to help the users unwind. Why choose Halcyon? Well, all the features that I have stated prove that Halcyon stands out from other anxiety management apps that are already available in the current market. It has all the prospects to be a truly effective and beneficial app to help people cope with anxiety.
Here are the results of our survey. Firstly, half of the respondents agree that online learning increases their level of anxiety, and 56.7% agree that the people around them affect their mental health. Furthermore, 65.5% of the respondents also believe that the mood tracker feature included in Halcyon will allow them to manage anxiety better. Also, it has been agreed by 72.6% of the respondents that having reminders will provide them a more structured lifestyle. Next, having a support group is also agreed by 80.5% of the respondents to help them manage anxiety by boosting motivation, providing moral support, and preventing loneliness. According to the survey, majority of the respondents find music relaxing. 54% enjoy watching calming videos. 41.6% prefer watching motivational videos, and 51.3% believe religious readings are able to help them wind down. Other than that, most of the respondents also like to be constantly reminded of taking breaks during study. 57.5% like to be reminded of exercising. 54% prefer to be constantly reminded of completing chores. And 24.8% like to be reminded of taking medical supplements. Last but not least, it is clear that majority of the respondents agree on Halcyon being able to improve anxiety management, and some of the features that have been suggested by the respondents to increase the effectiveness of the app are to include daily positive quotes, multiplayer minigames, and calming or satisfying videos.
As we know, COVID-19 has caused the anxiety rate among students to skyrocket. So here's when Halcyon comes in. Now I'm going to tell you the effects of Halcyon to the people who use it. First and foremost, the targeted users will have a more structured lifestyle due to the features available in the app, which is programmed to adapt to the user's routine. Which brings me to my next point, improved anxiety management. This app is believed to make the mental health anxiety issues tolerable by providing moral support and motivation as a strong support system that leads the students to be more mentally healthy, thus making the level of the students' productivity increases little by little. Increased productivity means increased self-confidence. This app is likely to boost the user's self-confidence. As we know, a person who has anxiety is likely to have low self-confidence. So, Halcyon will be a big help to reduce anxiety and produce high-quality individuals who are eligible to be world-class leaders as aimed by the program itself. As you can see, I have pointed out three effects of Halcyon that which will bring positive impacts to the bigger society. Now, let us take a look at the prospects anticipated from this app. Firstly, a more symphonious environment is expected to emerge in which conducive methods are applied to preserve mental well-being. Secondly, Halcyon is likely to be highly recognized in the more sophisticated countries as these countries tend to put more pressure on the students in order to strive even more. So, this is where Halcyon serves its purposes. And last but not least, Halcyon is able to provide connection all around the world by opening new opportunities for bigger and better things. This will enable strong bond between individuals, which will eventually strengthen the economic state of countries involved. This prospect will be the kickstart of a brighter future.
I am astounded by the great research presentation. Now, we will commence with the question and answer session. The chat box is open to any sort of inquiries from our audience. First of all, user Hannah Muazzam would like to know about, in your opinion, what is the role of the older generation or parents in helping the younger generation to improve their mental health? Would our presenters kindly address this question?
Okay, so I'll be answering the first question. But before that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good morning, IB, to the esteemed educators, moderators, and our dear audience. This is a very interesting question. So, in my opinion, older generations or parents, to be specific, they need to help supervise their young, their children, because children aren't able to go and live on their own. They need a superior person or superior higher level person to guide them. So, what is the role of the parents? They need to guide them from doing things that will affect their mental health badly or negatively, and they need to help them or introduce them to things and aspects that can help improve their mental health. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you for the great feedback. Next, we have a question from user Kasih Fatima. The question is, may you explain further the link between COVID-19 and mental health?
So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'll be answering the question. First of all, thank you very much, Ms. Kasih, for the wonderful question. So, as we all know, during this pandemic, it has led to the enforcement of the movement control order in countries all over the world to help curb the spread of this virus. So, this MCO, it forces us to adapt with the new norm, which puts a lot of mental and emotional pressure on us. So why is that? This is because of factors such as people going jobless, people losing their loved ones, and as students, online learning. So this is, So during this pandemic, as I said just now, these factors has put a lot of emotional and mental pressure to all of us, thus increasing the risk for us to develop mental health issues such as anxiety that if it's not handled properly would lead to more severe problems such as suicide and even death. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the excellent response. Okay, Azmina.
As we still have 2 more minutes, does the judges want to pose any questions or give any comments for our presenters?
Assalamualaikum. Congratulations for an excellent presentation and for the development of the online app Halcyon. Online apps is good, but sometimes it is lacking of human touch and interaction. How would you overcome this with Halcyon?
Okay, thank you for the very interesting question. And to answer this, Halcyon is based on surveys, and the surveys are testing what people want to improve their anxiety and what they think can improve their anxiety management. So basically, Halcyon is just a load of features that are proven by people with anxiety to help improve anxiety management among them. So even without the human touch, Halcyon is enough to improve anxiety management amongst everyone. I hope that answers your very interesting question. Thank you so much, Doctor.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but may I add to the answer? So, just now, our Dr. Nur Anita stated that these kind of apps lack human touch. So, as we have stated in our presentation, this app includes a support system feature. So it allows us, in a way, as you all know, during this pandemic, we can't meet people face to face. So this is where this support system feature helps to I wouldn't say, obviously we won't get the same 100% effect as if we were to meet someone in person. But this support system feature allows us to communicate and chat with other people, which will help us to improve our anxiety management during this pandemic and help us feel better during this pandemic. Thank you.
Excellent.
Well,
So
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. 5 minutes have gone by. Would you like to wrap up, Mahfuza?
Okay, that was a very good and informative response from the presenters. Thank you to the judges and the presenters from College Islam Sultan Alam Shah.
Thank you so much.
Carrying on with the symposium, let's give a warm welcome to Team Sekolah Menengah Sains Batu Pahat with the presenters Muhammad Fauzi Shahmi bin Muhammad Zain and Natra Suraya binti Shahrul Nizam. And let's continue watching your research presentation with the title Virtual Reality and Effort to Beat COVID-19. Please welcome.
Good morning and a very great day to the judges, moderator, and fellow participants. We are from Sekolah Menengah Sains Batu Pahat and we are going to present our topic under the subtopic Healthcare Innovation and Anxiety Management during this pandemic, which is virtual reality and effort to beat COVID-19. The current issues that we are facing right now is the pandemic COVID-19, which has spread all around the world and affecting us both physically and mentally. A lot of new quarantine policies had been introduced to help minimize the transmission of the virus. As we all know, our country, Malaysia, is one of the countries that had been greatly affected by the virus, with thousands and thousands of cases daily. A lot of people are having a hard time keeping up with the new norms that requires us to connect through the internet and technology. This resulted great pressure to a lot of people as our normal daily activities had been restricted. To top that off, the new COVID-19 variant, which is the Delta variant, has increased the infection rate and worsened the concern that had already existed with it. Due to this, more and more people fail to manage the emotions and needing the access to treatments and consultations. However, physical treatments are inconvenient as we still have to abide by the policies. Therefore, we come up with a potential solution, which is virtual reality, that can help fulfill the needs of society in this period of time. Our virtual reality innovation is known as VR Care. VR Care can help assist people with adjusting and keeping up with their social life while abiding by the new norms and policies. VR Care help people to have a better optimal health, both physically and mentally. For the framework, we are taking benefits and features from gaming in virtual reality that we think are useful and applying in this VR Care to provide a wholly better experience to the users.
Before we dive further into VR Care, we shall first see the implementation of virtual reality in the gaming industry. In gaming, virtual reality uses headsets along with some sensors in order to increase users' immersion, thus allow them to make different interactions. In our research, there are 4 main interactions that are used in virtual reality in the gaming industry. The first interaction is selection. Selection is the process of selecting objects that the user wishes to interact with, which will be focused on. The second interaction is the manipulation. Manipulation is the act of manipulating objects, such as rotating and moving the object in the virtual environment. Then we have locomotion. Locomotion is the movement of users in the real world, but translated in the virtual world. Users can reorient or even position themselves. Last but not least, the social interaction. Here, users may interact with other people virtually and experience real-life-like interactions such as meeting and even having a chat. So how exactly the interactions given benefits the anxiety management and healthcare industry? We see 3 obvious benefits of virtual reality in gaming that can be assimilated in VR Care, namely spatial presence, relaxation, and preparedness. Spatial presence refers to the experience of believing that they have been transported elsewhere. A research by the International Research Journal of Engineering and Technology confirmed that there are circular connections between emotion and presence. We believe that this will help in managing anxiety. As for relaxation, a low tension condition is experienced by users. This low tension condition will give some sort of pleasure and peace of mind to users. Finally, we have preparedness. One is preparedness. Preparedness in this context is a condition when users know what to be expected prior to the actual event. This will give users assurance that they have control of possibilities and are not at risk of getting harmed. When the concern experienced by users are drastically reduced, that's when we believe that the assurance in anxiety.
We have the implementation of VR technology in healthcare. Our main focus for VR technology in healthcare is to cut down physical contacts and to minimize the anxiety of not being able to fulfill the needs due to this pandemic. Therefore, these are a few implementations that we come up with to be applied within our idea, which is doctor appointments, simulations, and healthy lifestyle practices. Firstly, we can conduct appointments with doctors through one of the features in VR care, which is Doctor Vision. Doctor Vision provides virtual appointments, which is very practical as patients can do checkups without needing to have physical encounters with the doctor. This allows patients to access real life-like sessions with the doctor and receive an immediate feedbacks without having to worry about getting transmitted throughout the session. This can help reduce the unnecessary anxiety of getting the virus. Dr. Vision also gives reassurance to the patients as they know that they are in a good health state. Within the assurance, the users will feel less stressed, plus can lead to a better mental well-being. Next up, we have P-Vision. What is P-Vision? P-Vision is a virtual simulation that can give us prior picture of what happened when you get infected by the virus. A lot of people tend to break down and get very confused when they discover they got the virus. P-Vision can help prevent this situation from happening by simulating it. This will create preparedness for the person so they can take control of the situations better. This can restrain from further meltdowns or panic attacks from happening, thus can lead to a peaceful mind. Our VR care also provide extra vision. This feature can help people have a healthy lifestyle practice. Since we have to stay at home, a lot of people are concerned about their health status, especially people with severe health problems like obesity that requires them to exercise a lot. Not only that, even healthy people are getting worried on getting this non-infectious disease as they work out less due to the restriction of movements. With extra vision, people can engage in activities and exercises better while connecting with other users. This can certainly help build a healthier body condition, thus contributing to a healthier mind, providing an optimal overall health for the users.
How are we going to implement VR care in Malaysia? In our perspective, we assess the suitability of VR care in Malaysia in three aspects, which are the population density, internet coverage, and affordability of VR care units, and we decided to implement VR care in the urban areas first. You might wonder why. Let me explain. For the population density, according to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, the top three states that have the highest population density are the urban areas, which are Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya, and followed by Pulau Pinang. Reddy and Chandrasekhar in their research concludes that the higher the population density means higher number of stakeholders and also unfortunately contributes to a higher percentage of mental health problems by 80.6%. These circumstances explain the urgency of the VRCA's implementation in the urban areas. The second aspect is the internet coverage problem. Given that internet is one of the main components in VR care, internet is the crucial necessity. Department of Statistics Malaysia stated that as many as 89.6% of our population have the internet access, the majority of them are the people in the urban areas, whilst only 10.4% don't have the access. This shows that urban areas are in favor of getting technology. Nevertheless, we ensure that no one is left behind. As a solution to increase the internet coverage in rural areas, we will make collaboration and partnership with telecommunication parties such as Telecom Malaysia so that they can help us to solve the problems. The next aspect that we consider is the affordability of the care set. Now we become more neutral. We wanted to benefit both urban and rural areas. Therefore, we will take three steps. First, we will make partnership with authorized parties and receive funds to reduce the orchestra price. Next, the government can allocate specialized subsidy for VR care so that all economic group range can afford it. The third one is a follow-through effect. The mass production of VR care will gradually reduce the price by time. We hope that our suggestion to overcome the problems on implementing VR care will be successful in order to deal with pandemic right now. We acknowledge that our innovation might face certain issues and problems, but we strongly believe that if our VR care being implemented, it will be one of the outshining idea to help the citizens in this trying time.
What a brilliant presentation from Team Sekolah Menengah Sains Batu Pahat. We'll now proceed with the question and answer session. Are you ready, presenters?
So from user Kalila, the question reads as, where does all of your apps differ from technology that are already in existence, and why do you think it is a more suitable and useful option? Can our presenter help to clear the air?
Yes, yes, I will answer it. So first of all, thank you, user, for asking. So where does our VR care is different from existent? First of all, we need to understand that this is innovation. When we talk about innovation, we need something new. So where in our VR care is the new things? So we wanted to highlight that formerly, virtual reality is popular in the gaming industry. So all the benefits that we see, we wanted to assimilate it in the healthcare industry, especially in coping with anxiety. So that's the difference of our VR care with the former apps.
Thank you for clearing the air. Do you have any more questions from the audience? Okay, next, the second question is from user Hannah Muazzam. The question is, do you have any solutions to improve the mental health of the less fortunate that are not able to access technology during the pandemic? Presenters, can we have your response?
I will take the question. First of all, there are lots of ways that we can cope with our mental health. We can carry out activities to cope with the time where we are having hard times. We can play sports and so on and so forth.
Thank you for the response. Okay, Asmina.
Any questions from our judges?
Okay, congratulations for an excellent idea on utilizing virtual reality in health technology innovation. How can you implement VR care without compromising the importance of proper physical examination from a healthcare provider or a doctor?
So thank you. First of all, thank you, Doctor, for that brilliant question. I'll answer it. So without compromising the actual engagement with doctor, we still have to abide by the policies, which is to social or physical distance. So we don't really have the choice to do a physical consultation with doctor. So with VR care, we have the first is Doctor Vision. What Doctor Vision do? Doctor Vision help for the users to have a real life-like interaction with the doctor. There, as explained in our presentation, can help us to overcome the anxiety problems.
Thank you.
Thank you for that elaborate answer. Now, does Mr. Fahan have any questions for our presenters?
Okay, thank you very much for that brilliant presentation. Just a question. Do you believe that your virtual reality program have or should have an age limitation, and why?
I'll take the question. First of all, thank you so much, Mr. Farhan, for giving that brilliant question. So, in my opinion, Our product have no age restriction at all because mental health problems can be experienced by all age range. So I think everyone deserves to use it. I hope that clears the air.
Thank you for the answer. As we still have more time, does the audience have any more questions for our presenters?
Okay, so here's the question. User Alif Hussaini would like to know about how do you balance your time studying and conducting the research?
Thank you, user Alif Husaini. I will answer it. So when we talk about how do we balance time studying and conducting the research, we need to know a word, which is to be flexible in managing our time. So to be honest, we all the four or our team, at the morning we will attend the online class, and during the afternoon and evening we will gather and make online meeting to do reflection on what we need to do towards the research and discussing what we need to do. I hope
Thank
that
you for the
answered your
response.
question.
Well, 5 minutes is up. So thank you again from this team, and of course, thank you to our judges. Mafuza, how many teams have presented overall now?
A total of 9 teams.
So 17 teams overall minus 9 is?
8, Azmina, 8.
Oh, okay. So, I guess our next team isn't quite ready yet. So, for your information, this year's FRSIS has received participation from countries such as India, Thailand, Turkey, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Philippines. This year, a total of 105 international participants have joined together to attend this auspicious event.
I also heard that the total of participants for FRSIS is around 470 students, comprising all the 70 fully residential schools nationwide. To name a few, there are participants from Sekolah Seri Puteri, Sekolah Tun Fatimah, Sekolah Menengah Sains Miri, and the Malay College Kuala Kangsar.
Wow! Well, let's now hear from the next team, which is IGC Thai Binh Duong Primary Middle High School Vietnam from Team 3 by Hadan Quinn and Nguyen Tam Binh to proceed with their research video with the title 4S of Mental Health During COVID-19 of Pandemic, Support, Society, System, and Social Media.
Mental health is fundamental to the well-being and productive functioning of individuals.
Mental health is a state of balance both within and outside of the environment.
Globally, the majority of people who need mental health worldwide do not have the ability to access in high-quality mental health services.
Stigma, human resource shortages, fragmented service delivery models, and lack of resource capacity to implement and change policies contribute to the current mental health treatment gap.
Mental health in Vietnam has not been taken seriously for several reasons, such as misinterpretation of disease or patient psychology, community cultures.
In particular, domestic psychology is still a new field for Vietnam. Therefore, the majority of Vietnamese still know very little information about the psychology and psychiatry.
Since then, they easily have prejudices about people with mental health illness, thinking that they are all crazy people.
Mental health is really important these days because of the coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. This virus can affect children, young people, and the elderly directly and indirectly. People who face trauma at this stage can have lasting consequences throughout their lives, and the pandemic is increasing demand for mental health services.
Loss, isolation, loss of income, or fear of getting mental health illness, or exacerbating ones. Many people increased alcohol and drug use, insomnia, and anxiety.
Helping people in Vietnam to deal with anxiety, stress, social isolation, and material needs are important.
Misinformation, communication, and the fear of COVID-19, the closure of schools and public spaces led to a strong increase in social media exposure. Screen time use of the young generation significantly increased.
A study shows that people with a lack of health knowledge are more likely to get depression than people who have been educated about health.
Vietnam has one of the lowest health literacy in Asia, so they think that the Ministry of Health needs to improve the ability to access information about COVID-19 and other health concerns.
The theories and approaches for this research are stress theory, labeling theory, structural strain theory, exhaustion approach, and general living and work conditions approach.
The study aims to answer the following questions. Number 1. What is the current status of workers during the COVID-19 pandemic in Vietnam? Number 2. What are the mental health problems experienced by the workers and patients in Vietnam during the COVID-19 pandemic? And number 3. How can mental health problems during the COVID-19 pandemic be addressed? Moving on to the methodology of this quantitative study. For the research method, we made use of a descriptive approach that contains language, linguistic, data analysis, and even ethics are flexible and do not adhere to the old hard and fast norm. Tucker, 2018.
For the respondents, we used purposive sampling to determine the respondents of the study. This survey focused on 15 Gaston Queen Company workers last July during the fourth wave of COVID-19 pandemic in Vietnam.
For our data gathering tool, surveys are used in the gathering of data obtained by asking people questions in person, on paper, over the phone, or online. Workers were asked 21 questions throughout the survey.
About the data gathering procedure, number 1, we formulated survey questions based on our review of related literature. Number 2, it had undergone contents and face validity. Number 3, reliability was also established and it showed a result of highly reliable.
And for our analysis of data, through descriptive analysis, graphs and percentages were used to interpret responses from the survey. Rawat 2021.
About the results and discussion, Table 1.1 shows that the pandemic not only affects health but also affects working environment, and is the cause of mental health problems.
In Table 1.2, there are 53% of people who had a decrease in their salary between 20 to 50%.
Table 1.3 presented 40% of respondents reporting that money spent on food was at the basic level. 33% they spent the minimum they could buy, and 22% said that there was an impact.
In Table 1.4, 53.3% of people said that they are under a lot of pressure during COVID-19.
Workers who answered yes to pressure explained that they are always worried for their family members, afraid that everyone will get sick and the economy is not stable, for fear of affecting them later.
The chart in Table 1.6 shows the worries of workers during COVID-19 with 3 main results: lockdown and moving is the top result.
From the results of Table 1.7, the top main mental, physical, and health concerns are as follows. More than 76% of people said they have decreased in interest in all or more. The Table 1.8 points out the majority of people are scared of COVID-19.
Graph in Table 1.9 show that 100% of people are worried about COVID-19 pandemic.
As you can see in Table 1.10, when it comes to the condition of physical symptoms, about 70% of people said their hands would sweat before touching the object that have the risk of transmitting the COVID-19 to them.
In Table 1.11, they were asked how is the importance of their family support during this time. and most answers very important and necessary.
Table 1.12 shows that thinking positively is one of the best ways to combat stress or anxiety during COVID-19 pandemic.
The pandemic has created changes in workers' lives that have negatively impacted their mental health status. The economic burden of the pandemic changed their daily lives.
From the survey, we can see that the majority of workers wanted their mental health to be better during the pandemic, but they didn't have enough knowledge about mental health and its surrounding problems.
Current status of workers during COVID-19 pandemic is they are losing job, no money, homeless, and afraid.
On the positive side, as a result of Directive number 16, we are spending more quality time with our families and maintaining good communication with them during this lockdown. The COVID-19 pandemic causes trauma that promotes faster, more severe mental illness in all ages, especially workers.
They are always worries about family finance, each family member, jobs, and other things.
Knowing that it is completely normal for one to have anxieties during the pandemic, thereby having more knowledge will reduce misconception about mental health, and having positive thinking will reduce anxiety.
Using information from reliable sources will limit unnecessary negative thoughts. This will help them to have a clear mind.
During this pandemic, the majority of people are dealing with mental health difficulties. This means that fear and worry are natural emotions when we have to confront uncertainty or the unknown. As a result, it is reasonable that people are fearful during this COVID-19 pandemic.
Do you know what? Caring is sharing. Recognize when someone in your immediate vicinity requires assistance, such as guidance, food, or other necessities. So always be open to share ideas.
Great presentation from this team. Welcome back, judges. Now is the time for the question and answer session. Do you have any question, audience? So here is the first question from user Kalila. The question is, why do you think mental health cases nowadays, especially during COVID-19, have become more severe? And what can we do in the society to help those in need as best we can? Can our presenters please clear the air?
Thank you for your question. So, I think the reason why the mental health cases nowadays become severe because of the COVID-19 is first because of the disease itself, where it's a new disease, like just recent 1 or 2 years, and it killed a lot of people, and as well as the effect that it brought that we have to social isolation, social distancing. So people have to stay at home and they can't really go anywhere to stress out or release their stress. And what can we do in the society to help those in need? We can in our ability help them with what we have, and also giving them support emotionally as well as physically. Yes.
Thank you for the response. Do we have any more questions from the audience? Next, the question is from user Faradina Azaha. The question is, how can social media be used more effectively to bring people with mental health problems together and help them connect, for example, in their communities, rather than isolating them in their homes?
Thank you for your question.
Thank you for your question. So for our application, that we created that include the support society system and social media. That's why we bring the communities together, and for the support that it will be include the therapy that will allow people to connect with each other in need with our therapy sessions such as via text or videos or live chat. And for the society, it will allow people to make friends and share their stories. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the response.
Then does our judges have any questions or any comments for our presenters?
Okay, good morning, girls. Congratulations on an excellent presentation. Your study looked into the mental health issues among workers. If you were to conduct similar study, but among adolescents and students, what do you think would be the main factors that would affect their mental health?
Thank you for your question. So, if we're conducting the research for the people at our age, the adolescents and students, I think that the main factor would be coming from their studies or the school, since like we have a quite heavy curriculum where we have to study a lot, but have to stay at home and focusing on everything else, like how do we keep ourselves um, happy, how do we keep ourselves mentally prepared for a lot of subjects. And also I think family is another factors, is whether the family being supportive to the student or they are just being all around and scolding them. Yeah.
Very good answer. Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback. Any more inquiries from Mr. Fahad?
Okay, first of all, thank you very much and congratulations on your presentation. Just a quick question. With regards to the number of people whom you did your questionnaires, do you believe that with an increased number of participants in your questionnaires and questions, would the results of your research be different and why? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So we have conducted the research on a small number, around 15 people from one company, to see that people from the same environment, from the same company in the same place, will they have the same response. And the research showed that the majority of them have the same response of worry and stress due to the COVID-19. And if we extend the research to another company with a bigger number of employees, I think the research will bring a similar response where since the fourth COVID wave in Vietnam is affecting a large region, especially the south of Vietnam, with a lot of companies shut down and having their employees to stay at home. So I think that the responses would stay similar.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for the response. The period for the Q&A session is up. I hope the presenter's answer helped clear the air. Thank you to the judges and the presenters from Vietnam. I think this second session is ending soon.
That's right, Mahfuza.
So does that mean what I think it means?
What are you thinking?
Well, later I'll tell you, because now I will give the floor to Drishti Verma and Dia Kaushik from St. Mark's Girls Senior Secondary School, New Delhi, India from Team 1 to proceed with their videos with their title, Healthcare Innovations and Mental Health Anxiety Management During the Pandemic. The floor is yours.
Is mental health the real pandemic? Greetings everyone. Today I, Drishti, and my team, on behalf of St. Mark's Girls Senior Secondary School, take this opportunity to present before you all this video on mental health anxiety management and healthcare innovations during the pandemic. On 11th March 2020, through a virtual conference conducted by WHO, COVID-19 was considered a global pandemic with wide reach and explosive magnitude. The world braced itself for the impact. Uncertain prognosis, looming severe shortages of resources for testing and treatment, unprecedented restrictions on social interactions, the imposition of unfamiliar public health measures, large and growing financial losses, bereavement, isolation, and conflicting messages from authorities are just a few of the major stressors that undoubtedly contribute to the widespread emotional distress and an increased risk of psychiatric illness linked to COVID-19. COVID stirs up all sorts of feelings like fear, anxiety, stress, anger. On one hand, constant or high levels of stress can negatively impact our mental health, but on the other, it can also motivate us to self isolate and keep ourselves safe. Innovations in mental health, such as telemedicine or online doctor consultations, throughout these periods have also altered the face of healthcare.
We conducted a survey on Indian adults during the period of lockdown to study the impact of COVID 19 on their levels of health anxiety, well being, and efficiency of healthcare innovations as coping mechanisms. A questionnaire containing 15 questions was circulated via various social media platforms, and a total of 130 people ended up participating in the survey. An increase in anxiety levels by 30% as compared to pre pandemic times was observed. Also, health related anxiety was the highest in the 18 to 31 years age group. Age related changes in locus of control and coping mechanisms were among the novel findings of the study. Just so you know, locus of control theory argues that the degree to which people believe they are in control significantly influences their attitude towards difficult circumstances, affects resilience, and determines choices of coping strategies. Our research reveals that internal locus of control may rise until middle ages and decrease subsequently. Coping mechanisms include turning to social media, engaging oneself into mindful activities, and using behavioral coping methods. People, in order to reduce anxiety, also like to stay updated about the health status. What they don't know is such safety seeking behavior may be negatively reinforcing and may continue to maintain anxiety symptoms in the long run.
The situation so caused by the pandemic has led to innovations in healthcare that have enabled quick and efficient care for the patients. Some of these innovations have been discussed here. Use of drones to combat COVID 19. Around 18 countries have used drones for delivery and transport. Drones have allowed door to door transportation and collection of samples while at the same time lowering the risk of transmission. Nura Healthcare is an organization that is providing help to partners in India and Bangladesh by providing COVID 19 health resources and education. COVID 19 patients' signs must be monitored regularly throughout their illness and during recovery. Vital Signs monitors the patient's blood sugar saturation, cardiac health, respiration, and movement. Because COVID 19 affects the lungs, blood sugar levels should be monitored regularly. Society for Nutrition, Education, and Health Action works to promote preventive and promotive healthcare for vulnerable urban women, children, and adolescents. As an NGO, Sneha works across the Mumbai metropolitan to disseminate information on COVID 19 and other regular health issues.
Studies data offers a unique look at levels of health anxiety and coping strategies among adults in an Indian community afflicted by the COVID 19 pandemic. The data also reveals significant age related differences in how people reacted to the epidemic, as well as preliminary evidence of the efficiency of various coping mechanisms in reducing anxiety. The significance of having regular communication with survivors in order to better understand their perspective and needs, as well as the widespread adoption of mental health self-care practices are two of the most essential lessons learned. The findings of this study backs up the value of this lesson. More research is still required to assess the scope of the epidemic in other nations. The information offered here is preliminary and further study is needed to fully understand the impact of these various coping strategies on health and well-being. Furthermore, the small sample size limits the generalizability of the findings. Other sections of the world's technology breakthroughs and healthcare innovations might also be referred to in order to improve situation. The data and case study examined can be used to better identify the gaps in existing pandemic management and to create space and knowledge about healthcare innovations to make them more accessible to the general public so that we are better prepared in the event of other outbreaks of the virus.
such a fascinating and insightful presentation. Well, you know the drill, audience. Any questions are welcomed in the chat box below.
First of all, user Kalila would like to know about mental health has been an issue since the beginning of time and only being acknowledged in the last 20 or so years. Why do you think that it is still not seriously taken as a very damaging illness? Can our presenters kindly address this question?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much for the wonderful question. I'll take this. So, mental health is one thing that is not being talked about that much. Now, also, some people think that it is like a very big issue, and uh, you know, people do not address it that much. And that is because of, I think, lack of education and lack of awareness amongst people. And it will, like, if we educate people on how important it is to talk about their mental health openly, so that they feel less suppressed by people and less suppressed by the circumstances, it could be so much beneficial for the society at large.
Thank you for the answer. Do we have any more questions from the audience? Next, from user Alif Husaini, in your opinion, how the COVID-19 has given a big impact to our mental health?
Okay, so I would like to take this question. In my opinion, since the pandemic began and the lockdown started in various parts of the world, there was social isolation, and basically, people were not able to interact with um, they were not able to socialize enough. There was a lot of loneliness, and so they felt like they did not have other people to talk to. They were keeping everything to themselves, and it impacted their mental health a lot.
Thank you for the excellent response. So, Azmina.
Of course. And any more inquiries from our judges?
Good morning, everyone. Congratulations for a good presentation. How do you use the findings of your study to help manage anxiety among students in your school?
Okay, so I would like to answer this question. From our study, we found out that the main reasons for anxiety are social isolation and um, so we found out that the main reasons for anxiety building up were social isolation and not being able to interact enough. So in our school, we as students and fellow classmates or friends, we would like to offer our support to anybody who is suffering from anxiety. Since people are not able to talk a lot about their mental health issues, we would like to build the rapport and comfort with them, so that they are comfortable telling us what they are actually feeling, and we can help them in the right sense. Also, we would, if the case is very severe, we would like to bring it to the school counselor or any teacher who would be able to help the students better.
Good answer. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you, ma'am.
interesting insight. And does Mr. Farhan would like to add on any questions or give any comments for our presenters?
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. It seems that you guys are talking about some very heavy stuff going on in your place. So, my question is, do you believe there should be a balance in tackling mental and physical health during this pandemic? And how?
Okay, so I would like to answer this by saying physical and mental health are both equally important, or moreover, they are linked to each other. I would like to say, if you don't have a healthy mind, your body will also not be healthy, because suppose if somebody is in a lot of stress, they would stop eating, or stop having a healthy diet, their sleep routine would be disturbed. So basically, an unhealthy mind would lead to an unhealthy body. So I would suggest people to be equally involved in maintaining their physical and mental health. They could exercise, meditate, every day to maintain their physical health, and in order to maintain their mental health, they should remember to take breaks and
I am very sorry to interrupt, but the period for the question and answer session is up. Thank you
Thank
again
you.
for your interesting insights from this team, and of course, thank you to the judges.
Lastly, I would like to remind you that there is an online quiz posted in the chat box below. Do fill out the Google Forms. Let's watch the presentation regarding the online quiz again.
Do you hear that?
Hear what?
Oh, it's my stomach. I'm so hungry right now.
Oh, now I remember. I wanted to tell you earlier that we are going to have a lunch break now.
Oh, really? Yay, I can eat.
Sure, Azmina.
Thank you to the judges, teachers, participants, and audience present for your undivided attention throughout this session. This concludes the end of the second session. Do join us again at 2 p.m. at a new link. Do subscribe to this channel for more updates and press the bell button below for the new videos later. Bye!
Bye.